live.
What's going on, you guys? Welcome to Ask the Dating Coach podcast. I am your host, Lloyd Dixon, and today we have a bunch of special guests, and we are going to talk all about dating. We'll start by talking about frustrations with dating, common problems that men and women are having in the modern era. But first, we have to meet our panelists. So let's start from the right to left. Sheena, why don't you start us off? Introduce yourselves.
Thank you. Hi, guys. I'm Sheena Sharma. I am a dating coach for millennial men. Thanks for having me.
Perfect.
Hi, I'm AC Osa. I'm from Houston. I currently live in Austin. I'm a model. And yeah, thanks for having me.
Perfect. My name is Lloyd. I am also a dating expert for men. I'm hosting this podcast.
I'm Kay Cote, and I have the Elevated You podcast, and I'm a speaker, and I'm in the music industry.
My name is Sora Nova. I'm 30 years old. I'm from North Carolina, raised in Norfolk, relocated here from Richmond, Virginia, and I'm wherever the money go.
That part.
Perfect. All right, so we'll start out. I wanted to pose this question to you guys. Do you think that dating has become more frustrating in the last 5 years or less frustrating? Anyone who wants to start can start. If not, I will start with my own opinion.
I would say more.
Why do you think it's more?
Only because it's like people's standards, some people's standards go higher, some go lower. So it's like when you meet someone, your expectations might not be theirs. And it's like you have to just know how to communicate that. Because a lot of people isn't good at communicating, and it makes it more difficult nowadays.
Do you think people have higher expectations now when it comes to dating?
Some people, because they've been through a lot throughout the years. They've been lied to, cheated on. So they set it high to a point where it's just like, if you're a person like me, where I'm like free going, they want you to be this way, like basically controlling to a certain extent. And it's like, it doesn't work for a lot of people. Yeah.
What about you? What do you think, Sheena?
Yeah, I think that dating apps have created a phenomenon where there's always something better around the corner. And I hear this from my clients a lot as well. Men and women kind of experience this where maybe they meet someone, they do have chemistry or compatibility or both, but then they're in this mindset of like, but I could get someone hotter or I could get someone better. And so that keeps them from settling down with that person. Yeah,
and social media, I think, plays a role in that too, because like you literally are like dating somebody, you like open your phone, you're like, oh, somebody hotter than this person I'm on a date with, just flipped into my algorithm. And so it's like, I think people see that all the time. They're constantly being bombarded by these images of people, some of which aren't even real people. They're AI generated now. They're not even real human beings, or maybe they do the face tune or whatever it is. And so I think there's a lot, like in our minds overall, I think there is a little bit of a higher expectation. I think there are other reasons about why dating might feel frustrating in today's day and age, but what do you guys think?
I mean, I just got out of a 7-year relationship, and so I'm newly on the dating scene.
Whoa, 7 years.
7 years.
How long ago did that end?
About 3 months.
3 months?
Yeah,
oh, okay.
Yeah, but I just recently moved to the Austin area and have, started kind of dating, but it's challenging. It's a little bit overwhelming. You don't know, are people like honest at face value? I haven't even dabbled in dating apps. I've never actually used one before.
Yeah, I was about to ask. I was like 7 years ago. I think dating apps were still like a taboo thing back then. That was like, oh God, how old was I? I was like 24 when they were around. I was using dating apps, but it was like only Tinder, I think, at that time.
Yeah.
Tinder was like the new thing, and now Tinder's like Hinge's loose cannon cousin.
Noted.
Although it still works for some people. What do you think of Soranova?
I feel as though like dating is hard because like I was raised on principles and morals.
Yeah.
And a lot of like this generation is just all about sex. You see someone, you just, okay, well, instead of getting to know me for the person that I am, like form an emotional bond, you just want to just jump straight to sex. Like, I don't work like that.
You work a little slower, huh?
Yes.
What kind of people are you typically attracted to?
That's a good question.
That's why I asked it.
I'm going to say this. one thing's for sure, like looks don't faze me.
Uh-huh.
It's how a person treat me, how a person carry themselves, you know, because I want to know your goals.
Sure.
I want to know everything about you. Like if you're leveling up or if I'm leveling up, like let's level up together. Like it's not about what you look like on the outside. It's what's on the inside. Like you have to be kind to me. You know, of course, everybody going to have their tips.
Yeah.
But communication is the key.
Gotcha. Do you find you're attracted to more feminine types or more masculine types? Like, is it what kind of energies are we speaking about here?
I like my women aggressive but feminine.
Aggressive but feminine. Ah,
yes,
okay.
because I'm more on the masculine side.
Right.
But like I like my pretty girls to have a backbone because that'll let me know like, okay, you can hold your own with or without me.
Yeah.
Because I have a backbone.
Yeah.
Not a lot of, you know, I don't want to say prissy or like sassy women or like softer women. They can't handle it.
Dude, that's a good point because like a lot of people think that if you're super feminine, that means you're like not confident, meek, you don't really stand up for yourself, and that's not true at all. Some of the most feminine women I know are some of the most confident, and they will be down to be aggressive when it counts. So yeah, that's a great point. Okay, cool. Anything else about frustrations with dating? You guys ready to move on? Okay, cool. So I'll give my opinion a little bit on this. I think with the modern era, when it comes to dating, you know, when I've dated, I'm 31 right now. So when I first started dating, there was a little bit of apps. I was going out. I was talking to people in bars. As I've gotten older, I've noticed that my expectations for dating have changed. I'm sure sounds like they changed for you as well too. When you're younger, all you care about, like maybe he's got the status, or you know, maybe she's like got the hot body I'm looking for, right? So you care about those things, and then you start to date, and maybe you date some of those people, and you have a terrible time. Right? You date someone who's got like the perfect body that you're looking for. You date someone who's got the status, and you're like, oh God, like they're not here all the time. Like they're looking at themselves in the mirror all the time. Or in my case, I dated a woman who was so attractive that guys would see me with this person, and they would be like, oh no, there's no way they're together. So they would hit on her constantly. So then I had to deal with all of these guys that were trying to pick up my girl. And she was like, no, I have a boyfriend. And so we would go out anywhere, and she would get guys constantly coming up to her. And I just found it annoying. I could deal with it at that time. It was fine. But what I didn't expect was to have to deal with this constantly while I was out. And so what I've noticed is I like women who can stand up for themselves too, who I don't have to be around there constantly. She was a little bit like, she was submissive, but in a way where it was like, if somebody was coming up to her and talking to her, then she just couldn't say no. She like couldn't make an excuse to leave. And so every single guy that would come up, she would just entertain him, and they think they have a chance, and they would just keep talking. And then I have to step in, and then I feel like I'm being rude. And it was just like this thing that I had never expected to deal with when I was like dating people. So I think as you get older, your expectations tend to change. Would you guys agree?
I agree, 100%.
Yeah. There have been any sort of like values or any sort of like types of people that you've changed in terms of like, I used to go for these guys, but I don't go for these guys anymore?
Pretty men with problems. That is my type, and I'm working on
What kind of problems are we talking about?
Oh gosh, emotionally unavailable. Some of them are with other people, and they don't tell me that.
You were in an open relationship and you didn't know it?
Yeah, I guess. And it's like just things like that, you know, and I'm a fixer by nature. I'm a coach. So that is something I've noticed. Like, I got to tell myself constantly, like, don't date your work. Like, think about having that like solid person rather than this high energy kind of loose cannon.
Yeah.
So yeah, pretty men with problems.
I think women fall into that trap because like, you know, the person's not good, but you feel useful, you know?
Yeah.
That's my best guess, is like when you feel like you're doing something. I think that's why women are attracted to like the wounded warrior types a lot, because like, yeah, he's a warrior, he's got all this stuff, but there's something that I can fix. There's something that I can help out with, and I feel useful. And if a guy has everything figured out, it's like, why am I here? You know, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Plus, I think it's in our blood to be nurturers. Like, women are very maternal by nature. Like, I'm not a mother, but I'm a dog mom. And like, I've always loved to care for something else. And I do want to be a mother one day of human children. So like, I used to attract emotionally unavailable men constantly as well for the same reason, I was able to drop into like the soft, more nurturing role. And just like piggybacking off of the expectations thing, like when I was younger, I was solely attracted to like just manly men, like just like your
Very
typical
burly,
like
masculine,
masculine,
chops lumber for a
masculine
living.
dude. Yeah, like just like a meathead, like goes to the gym, comes back, like super high testosterone, like whatever.
Mhm.
And this is kind of a niche thing, but I think, and maybe other coaches can relate, where like I'm a business owner,
Mhm.
and oftentimes I find myself channeling more masculine energy,
Mhm.
even though I'm a very feminine woman, but like,
Sure.
I take care of my stuff,
Mhm.
so financially, all the things. And so sometimes when I date manly men, like it can oftentimes feel like a battle of the egos,
Right,
And
right.
it's polarity is everything.
Do you think the men you've dated have felt threatened by your
Sometimes.
work? Yeah.
Yeah.
I can relate to you on that big time. Because it's like when we're feminine women and I like someone wouldn't expect me to have that masculine energy, but I'm definitely much more on the masculine side too. And it does create that
It
kind
does, doesn't
of
it?
headbutting. Yeah,
Mhm.
for sure.
Yeah. When I'm like in creation mode, like when I'm in my flow and I'm creating content or like whatever it is for my business, like I'm just like, I tune out and I'm like, I just want to create. And I think when you drop into that energy, it can be tough, not to say impossible, but it can
Yeah.
be tough to come back into like the nurturing, caretaking, more feminine that supports her man and his goals and his dreams.
Yeah, 100%.
See, I've experienced it all. I've
Do
I've
tell.
been with women that I didn't know they was with another woman. I've been with married women. I've been with all shapes, sizes, colors.
Okay, because I've heard a rumor about this, and we're gonna have to put a pin in that and talk about it later. I've heard that you've dated straight married women. Is this true? Please tell us about this.
Yeah.
You don't have to name any names. You don't have to name any names.
Very true.
But let's talk about that a little bit.
We can talk about it. I dated. I say it maybe lasted maybe a year.
A
and
year?
and a half.
You said it like a year. a year.
because mentally I wasn't there.
Yeah.
Like I was, emotionally, like I gave, her the emotional stability, but
Uh-huh. Do you think she
like-
wasn't getting that from her man?
she wasn't.
Okay.
And he was actually cheating.
Oh, there you go.
So
Trying to even the playing field.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and I'm just like,
Was he cheating with a man?
I don't know what he was cheating with.
that would have really been a plot twist.
All I know is he was cheating on her with was some lady. She had a mullet, like she had a mullet,
Mhm.
And I was like, he like a bartender, bling blow, pickety plow, or what? Like so, but like it kind of like hurt me a little bit because like I know how much she was into me,
Mm-hmm.
but the fact that I know I'm not going to raise your kids.
Right.
Like your kids they're not stair steppers, but
Mhm.
I'm not going to make anybody like leave their husband,
100%.
regardless if y'all in a process of getting a divorce or y'all
Mhm.
just legally married and just separate. Like I don't expect nobody because I'm not going to take care of your kids. Like they're not my kids. Like
Yeah.
I will look after them as if they're my own, but like
Mhm.
in reality they're not mine. So like mentally, like I wasn't there. Like she wanted to leave her husband and everything, and then
Oh.
come to find out she ended up cheating on me.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, she ended up cheating on me with a woman and got married to her.
Wow.
Mhm.
Oh.
Yeah.
Damn.
Plot thickens.
Yeah, the plot
Yeah.
thickens. I was about to say.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, I'm sorry that happened to you. That sounds like a really
Yeah.
stressful experience to go
Like,
through.
I don't know. I done been through a lot, and
Yeah.
I'm strong. So like a lot of stuff that some people can handle it or can't handle. Like I've done handled it all.
Yeah.
So
But honestly, it's probably for the
It's a
best. I
learning
mean, that
experience.
you guys aren't still together because, like, I don't know. If somebody left their husband for me, I'd feel a little like, is she gonna do the same thing? Like the trust, it's gonna be a really tough one to break. If you don't mind me asking, how did you like end up meeting this person? By the way, if I ask a question that's like too far over the line, you let me know. But yeah, how did you end up meeting this person? How did you find out she was married? Was she up front with you? Like,
Oh yeah.
has she been with women before?
I seen her in the courthouse. She was with her man,
Yeah.
and she dipped off in the bathroom to see me
so
to tell me how good I look.
she sought you out. Okay. Do you
Yeah,
think?
it's like I'm very shy,
Mhm.
so like I never make the first move.
Right.
Like
Sounds like
I
you
would
don't have to.
yeah, like I'll be crushing. Like I would, let's say I'm crushing on somebody. I'll be
Mhm.
crushing on them for years. Like we'll see each other pass, and I'll look at them.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we'll make eye contact, but I would never tell you that I like you.
Mm.
Not first.
Yeah.
I would
Wow.
keep it to myself. Like I'm not afraid of rejection. It's just like the way I was raised. Like not everybody is approachable, you know.
Mhm.
So I wouldn't want to offend anybody by just walking up trying to holler. You know,
Yeah.
that's just not me. So I just chill, and what's for me will come to me.
Yeah, that surprises me. When I first saw you, I was like, she could roll up on a woman pretty well. That's what I first thought when I saw you. That's really interesting.
I'm scary. I'm really scary because like I'm a Cancer, so like I love hard, like and
Mhm.
when I put my all in something, like you can hurt my feelings. for
Right.
real. So it's just like I be timid.
Mhm.
Like even when it comes to dating, I be timid. So
Okay.
it's like y'all gotta come to me.
Yeah.
I'm
And
scared.
especially if you've been hurt before too. You know, you're like
Yeah.
afraid about going back in there again. You're like, all right, let's wait a bit, and then maybe we could do this.
Yeah. But you know, we are no longer friends no more. And
Yeah, I think that's for the best. Yeah,
Yeah.
get that negative, toxic energy out of your
Mhm.
life.
Yeah.
Not
Got
good.
to go. Got to go.
Cool. All right. So, Sheena, we were talking earlier about how you talk a little bit about like struggles with dating for minorities and being accepting that sort of stuff. Do you coach clients that are dealing with that sort of issue, or is that just something that you've noticed in the dating field?
Yeah, so I've been coaching for about 5 years, and
Mhm.
something I noticed throughout my journey as my business started to expand
Yeah.
is that a lot of my clients had something in common, which were that they came from particular backgrounds.
Sure.
And I'm Indian American myself, like so I grew up in America, but my parents are from India,
Mhm.
and so I don't know if it's like seeing someone that
Yeah.
they
Well, what part of
relate
India, if you
to.
don't mind me asking? Yeah.
Yeah, so North India. So
North
like,
India.
If y'all know where the Taj Mahal is, which is like the
I've been there.
one
Yeah.
of the 8 wonders of the world, yeah,
Yeah.
like right north of there.
Okay.
That's where my parents are from.
Okay. Are you Hindu or Sikh or?
Yeah, Hindu.
Okay. Cool.
Mhm.
Right.
And so I noticed that like a lot of my clients were Indian themselves. They are Indian American.
Mhm.
Us being in Austin, like there's a
Yeah.
huge tech scene, and so you do find that like a lot of the immigrants who come here are from India, but they're also
Right.
immigrants from elsewhere. Like people move from I don't know Poland, Russia,
Right.
and then come here and do this stuff. So I've noticed a lot of my clients have come from those particular backgrounds,
Mhm.
and they all seemed to really struggle. You know, on the one hand, they're struggling with cultural differences, right? Coming
Right.
to a new country and dating,
Yeah.
like American women, it's different for them. It's difficult. There's a cultural barrier. Some of them have accents. Some
Yep.
women don't find
Which
that
they're probably very
attractive.
self-conscious about.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But you know, on the other hand, like people date differently outside of America, and so.
Right.
Once I noticed that theme in my clients, it kind of opened my eyes to how can I serve these communities? And there's statistics on this, like South Asian men and East Asian men, so like Korean, Chinese, Japanese,
Right.
are the least likely to be swiped right on
Mhm.
dating apps. So women will typically swipe right most on white men,
Yeah.
and they tend to swipe the least on East and South Asian men.
Yeah.
So yeah, they came to me.
The
with
Korean
these
surprises
problems.
me. I thought Koreans are very attractive.
I think they're attractive.
I think, yeah.
And I think it's going in a positive direction just because the immigrant population here is increasing year by year. But also like you have like K-pop.
Yeah,
which
exactly.
Has
I was about to say,
become quite
I know some women who are very attractive who love K-pop. So they have a
100%.
they have a poster of him on their wall. Like I'm like, wow, this came out of nowhere.
For sure. It's like you're either a K-pop stan or you're just not, and you have absolutely no
You have no
idea,
chance.
Like, what that is. Yeah, but like Korean men, for example, have like amazing skin. Like they just naturally, apparently Korean people like wash their face with rice water every morning, and they just have amazing glowing skin. So,
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they
there's
don't
definitely
age.
Benefits. They don't age. Yeah.
You see Jackie Chan?
I'm jealous.
White men age. White men definitely age.
Rice water.
Exactly.
That's the secret ingredient. Okay, cool. Yeah, I know. We probably have some Indian folks watching this. I get a lot of followers from India on my channel. I got a lot of Indian men who, are in Canada or come to the United States as well. And they come to me with those same issues. They're frustrating. They're insecure about their accent. They're insecure about themselves. They read all the stereotypes. And there's some horrible stuff. If you go down a rabbit hole online, I don't know if you've done this for your clients, but like there's all this black pill stuff that's saying how like Indian guys have no chance. And if you go down that rabbit hole, then you can start to really believe it. And, it can really infect your mind. And, even though it's not true, they've seen some evidence maybe in life where maybe their white friends will talk about something and this date that they went on, and then they compare it to themselves and they start feeling self-conscious. So yeah, I've definitely seen that. So what kind of message would you tell them if someone is insecure about that sort of stuff?
Yeah, that's a great question. And I think this can apply to really anyone who's just feeling insecure in general. It's just like funny, when I was on my way here, I was looking at just mindlessly scrolling through Instagram, and I was seeing like all these girls, and all the girls like are getting, the lip injections, like just like
some people go overboard with those.
Overboard for sure, but like they're getting Botox like in their 20s, and I'm like, you're 25, why are you getting Botox? Anyway, but I was looking at all these things, and I was just like, they're making me feel like not good about myself. Like they just look so perfect, and like it makes me kind of shrink and feel small, right? And so that's a kind of great segue. Like you and I were talking briefly before the podcast about setting boundaries with social media, but also with dating apps. Like really any online medium that you're using to meet people in general, because you can meet people on Instagram, you can meet people on Facebook. Like
100%.
I run a Facebook group in Austin called Conscious Singles in Austin. It's like there's 7,000 people in there, and it's growing every day. And like,
wow, I didn't know that. That's cool.
Yeah, and so people message each other through there, and they like meet and they date. Like y'all should join. You should join it.
I was just thinking that.
Yeah, but like people slide into people's DMs, and you meet that way, right? And so that's great if you're going to do that, but you have to set boundaries. Like maybe set a timer on your phone. Like stop going on Instagram like 4 hours every night right before you go to bed. Like this stuff is so bad for your mental health.
Right. Yeah. And so some of the things that I recommend is like, let's say you have a guy who is worried about like the stereotypes. I recommend that they prove to themselves, fight it for themselves, their stereotypes. So if they're worried about being seen as like really nerdy, it's like, okay, well, what do you think a nerd wouldn't do? Would he go to the gym a lot? Would he do all of this stuff? Would he put himself out there? Would he travel? Would he do awesome stuff? Do some more of that awesome stuff. And I guarantee you're going to stop looking at yourself like that. And the people around you will stop looking at you like that too, because now you really believe it and you're embodying that. You know what I mean? So yeah.
You're just making me laugh when you're like, do things a nerd wouldn't do. A nerd would not go to the gym. And
well, I'm sure plenty of nerds go to the gym.
Yeah,
I'm a nerd myself, and I go to the gym. So
I know I'm like, I'm nerdy, but I'm just pulling your leg. I hear you. But it's like, and I love that advice. And I think another piece of advice I would give is like something I've told my clients is like, if you're a nerd, for example, right? Like let's say you're a nerd. Everyone I know defines nerd differently, but like let's say you're really nerdy and you love to read a lot. Like, okay, lean into that. Like lean into your nerdiness, because like a lot of girls like nerdy guys.
Yeah.
And
I found a subreddit that's men reading in public, and it's just photos of a guy reading a book like in a park at a coffee shop, and it's just like women commenting, "Oh my god, this guy looks so hot." And it's
like give a man a book, and it's 10 points in my book. Like I love. I think it's great.
Yeah.
I actually coach on like a lot of authenticity and like tapping into who you really are. And so that really speaks a lot. I think it's like, if you have a quirk, own it, like really kind of like lean into that. So I really, really like that advice. I think it's fun when people are diverse and have different qualities, and somebody brings something to the table that's really crazy. Like they rock at that rock band game from 2011 or whatever, like something like that, like own it. I like that.
Yeah. And being a nerd, honestly, is like not becoming as not cool as it used to be. Like, I think almost everyone's turning into nerds at this point. We all spend time on our phones and our computers and stuff. So, and like I get guys who are like really into like Dungeons and Dragons and stuff. And like, they think that they need to like start doing, I don't know, MMA or whatever to like prove their manliness. And I'm like, no, dude, lean into the D&D, start a D&D group and start inviting some women that you meet. I guarantee you they love it. It's like, it's going to be a nice little social event. You tell a story. It's fun. It's interactive. Like, women love games. So, lean into the stuff that you really like. So that's great.
You can like role play in the bedroom, like dungeon. Princess, like,
I'm a paladin. All right, cool. So Ace, we were talking earlier. I've seen your Instagram. You go on a lot of different travels. How many places have you been to so far?
I've been to a couple of places. I haven't been out of the country yet.
Okay,
So
well, this is
that's
perfect because that
something.
segues into my next question. But you've been all over the States?
Yeah. Most of
Gotcha.
them.
Okay.
Yeah.
So where do you think, let's say for the guys who are watching, where do you
Okay.
think is the best city for single men to live to get a date?
It depends what kind of date you're looking for.
Let's say, okay, we'll do one for like short-term mating and we'll do one for like looking for a serious relationship. Let's do the short-term one first. What do you think is the best for hooking up?
I really believe it's what you're into. What you're into is what you attract. Where you go is what you attract. So if you're looking for a hot girl summer type of girl, go to the club. You're gonna see a lot of them. If you're looking for somebody that's more classy and modest and stuff like that, then go to like a winery tour, you know, or something like that. So it just depends on where you are. But I believe like Atlanta is like a good
hot Atlanta
for the hot girls. But I feel like Houston is more so of like very diverse.
Yeah.
So if you're looking for like if you don't discriminate, I think Houston will be a good spot.
Yeah.
Austin too. Like be weird. Embrace your weirdness in Austin. That's just my opinion.
Good. Yeah. So there's actually, I've looked at some data on this. I get super analytical about it. There's some cities, the city that I grew up in, San Jose, California, has the highest male to female ratio. There are 30% more males in San Jose, California than there are women. This is a travesty for dating. The second highest in the United States is San Francisco. So I grew up in San Jose and I moved to San Francisco, and now you know why I do what I do, which is
It makes sense.
I came from two areas that were really tough for dating. If you can make it work there, you can make it work anywhere. So some of the places that I advise guys to go, Atlanta's great.
Yeah.
I think Houston is great. Miami and New York City tend to be pretty good for guys that are single, okay? New York City especially, because not only does it have a lot of people, but there's a huge fashion industry. There's a little bit of fashion industry in Miami too, but there's a huge fashion industry in New York City. So there's actually more women than men there, and these are professional women. These are women that are career-oriented. These are women that are down to go out on a date. So I'd say, and especially in New York City, because everybody moves very fast, the nightlife, the clubs stay open until forever. They never close. So I think New York City, especially if you're looking for short term, I think New York City is great. I think Miami's really good too. I think you can get a girlfriend pretty easily in New York City. Have you spent time in New York City?
I have been to New York. I feel like depending on what area of New York, the type of area that that you want to get a nice woman.
Where would you get a nice woman in New York City?
I feel like depending on your status, because
Okay.
you have to fit in where you have to get in where you fit in.
Okay.
So it's not like you can go to Miami and be with the ballers and don't have baller money.
Yeah.
You know, so it's just like you just have to pick and choose. Like I feel like everybody has somebody out there for them.
Yeah.
Someone is gonna like you, no matter how weird you are, how smart you are, how nerdy you are, how strong you are, how weak you are. It's somebody there for you. So I feel like if you just be yourself, no matter where you go, 9 times out of 10, you can probably find a date. Honestly.
Absolutely. Where was your favorite place? Like if you were, are you single now?
Complicated.
Single-ish.
Situation.
Situationship. That's okay. We don't have to tell us the details if you don't want to.
Emotionally, no, I'm not single.
Okay,
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So I'm the type, like, if I'm in a relationship and we break up, I'm not the type to just move on super fast because I still have feelings for that person. So I still carry myself as if I was in a relationship.
Okay.
So that's why I did like.
That's a very secure thing to do, you know.
Yeah.
But people that I see that like move on the next week, I'm like, are you
I'm
a
like,
sociopath?
how?
Like,
Yeah, no, seriously. I'm like, oh, my brain doesn't work that way.
because there's other two possibilities. Either they felt no pain after the breakup, sociopath, or they felt a lot of pain and they're numbing it with this person, probably not making the best decision to pick that person. So either way, you know, I see that where people do the whole monkey branching thing. Like, yeah, I find that it's a great strategy in the short term if you don't want to feel like an intense amount of pain and really feel your feelings. But it's not a great strategy, I think, in the long term, because I know some women that have constantly had a boyfriend for like 15 years, you know, and like, you know, I talk to them about their current relationship and I'm like, where do you see this going? And they're like, oh, you know, I don't know. I'm like, okay, have you spent any time being single to like figure out what you want? You know, you know, anyway. That's just my opinion about that. So where, if you were single, like totally mentally single,
Mhm.
where would you go? What would be the best place for you as a woman?
I will definitely go to Miami.
Miami?
If not Miami, outside the country, I'll probably like try to like experience Puerto Rico or like
Oh, nice.
somewhere far away.
Yeah.
To see different, because like
Mhm.
honestly nowadays everyone wants to be the same for whatever reason. That's all I see on Instagram. Like you said, the women,
They want
you
to look
know,
the same.
yeah, and it's
The
like
same.
if everyone was the same, the world would be boring.
Right.
And I'm not a boring person. I'm really random. I'm adventurous. Like I
Mhm.
love people with color and personality.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Yeah. My girlfriend's exactly like that. She's like the anti-Instagram. Like when everyone's posting like, you know, pictures at the beach, she'll like get into like a ghoul outfit for Halloween and like become like a scarecrow and scare children, and she'll post that. She's like, you know, there's like 2 girls on Halloween. By the way, my girlfriend is gorgeous. If there's 2 girls on Halloween, there's like the girl that's dressing in like, oh, I'm a sexy cop, and she's like, and she wants us to be Ron Burgundy and what's the name of the woman that she's with in the
The female anchor. I know.
the female anchor.
I can't remember the.
Oh my god, it will come to me. Anyway, she wants us to be that, but she wants me to be the female reporter, and she wants to be Ron Burgundy. And I'm down with it. I think I'm gonna make a great female reporter.
That's definitely different.
Yeah, absolutely. So you go to Miami?
Yeah, I would definitely go to Miami.
I see.
It's- Because like for me, I think it's just like I like excitement.
Mhm.
Not necessarily like party life, just different things. So like I'll probably say Miami, but then when I get to Miami a year later, I'll be like, let's try Washington State.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah,
because
yeah.
I just like different stuff. After I'm like for Houston, I've been in Houston most of my life. I wanted to get away, but I didn't want to be too far, so I came home. But I like to move around. I like to experience new things and see new people and
Yeah.
like just hear different perspectives of
Yeah. I've traveled to I've lived on 4 different continents, and
Oh.
yeah, I've lived in Asia, I lived in South America, I lived here, I lived in Europe. And so most of my 20s, I was like traveling around. So being in one area and honestly being in a relationship too is a little bit different for me, because whenever I was traveling, I was used to all these exciting new experience and stimulus. And then when you're here and you wake up and you're doing the same thing every single day, it's just like, it's a little bit challenging to adjust to that sort of stuff.
yeah. Which place did you like more?
The best place for me traveling wise was either Colombia or Vietnam. I really like those because Vietnam, I motorbiked through the entire country, and I never really dated. I only dated people who were also traveling too, because like the Vietnamese people they couldn't understand me, and they all think everywhere I went in Vietnam, especially if you get up north towards China, if you motorbike through a city, people just want to take photos with you because you're a foreigner. If they see a white person and you're in their village, they just want to take photos with you because they think I don't know, they've read so much about white people.
You're famous there. You're like Beyonce there.
It was fun. I was with this guy that I was with. I just kept telling everybody Vince Vaughn because he kind of looked like Vince Vaughn. I don't think they knew what I was talking about, but anyway, yeah, I'd say Vietnam was probably my favorite. Yeah. What about you? You've traveled a lot, Sheena. How's traveling been for you? How's the dating scene?
Yeah, I've traveled a lot, and I'm out of a relationship, but it's been about 6 months. But I was dating an Australian guy in Austin for about a year. I just love men with accents.
My girl, it's my curse too.
Right?
Yes.
So
every American woman loves the guy with the accent.
I love the accents. And so he ended up moving to Ecuador, which he's following his dreams, totally support him. But my next destination is London because I love British accents. And
You're gonna be plenty there.
Yes. And plus I love Western Europe. I've spent a lot of time there. I speak French, so I'm excited.
What's the best? Oh, sorry.
Oh no, I was just about to ask her, do you know different languages?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I speak French and Hindi, and Hindi is my mother tongue.
Mm-hmm.
My parents still speak it with me, but then I it was a journalism major in college and a French minor, so I've studied French for about 12 years.
Okay. Gotcha.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool.
Cool. All right. Kay, so we were talking yesterday and you mentioned that you're a manager for musicians. So you go to a lot of festivals and stuff. You help book tell me a little bit about what you do, I guess.
Yes. When I moved to Austin about 7 months ago, I was in the health and wellness space. And then also doing just mindset coaching. I help clients develop their businesses.
Mm-hmm.
And then I just started getting really into nightlife and fell back in love with music because I grew up with music was my everything, and I almost went to college for it. So it just naturally drew me in, and EDM has been just such a dynamic part of my life too.
Mm-hmm.
And I come from the Midwest. I come from Fargo, North Dakota.
Shout out to Fargo.
Shout out Fargo. And so like the scene wasn't really big there, but I did get involved and started helping with the EDM scene there.
Mm-hmm.
And then I just happened to make a friend here. He's Brazilian, of course.
Yeah.
And so I started connecting with him, and we just hit it off when it comes to music.
Mm-hmm.
And then one day we just like experimented. It was one weekend we experimented. I got him on some like open decks at a club downtown.
I thought you were gonna say drugs.
No.
I immediately was thinking mushrooms, like when you first said that.
Open decks.
I thought we were experimenting with sets.
We got him onto some DJ sets.
Okay,
set
all right,
list,
all right.
And then we just had a meeting, and he's like, "Would you like to be my manager?"
Yeah.
I said, "Yeah, let's try it out." And then I realized there's a dynamic of a partnership too, because I'm also a dancer and I shuffle and
I've seen your shuffle. You're really good.
Oh, thank you.
Yes.
Yeah, it's been a big work in progress, just something fun I was doing. And so that's how it all started. And now we're full steam ahead. We're full steam ahead with it. Like hopefully getting him into some major clubs. Yeah.
Nice.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
So cool.
So tell me about like with festivals, what do you think are like the best? Is festivals a good area to meet people? Is it a good area for you to meet someone you might date? Because I know a lot of people that I've met through festivals.
I think so, because you think about it's a very peace, love, like everybody is really in a great mood at festivals. I think it can be a great place.
And they're not focusing on work too,
Yeah.
like taking a break from all that stuff. I think you can just enjoy a person,
100%. And I think if you find some common ground with music, that can be a great foundation too for a good relationship. So even right now, I'm kind of in a little situationship myself, and the guy's a musician. So it does call me. I feel like I'm really attracted to that. I really love the passion people have for music.
Right.
And so I'm trying to just like lean into maybe that's where I'm going to start looking. So I would say, yeah, if that's your thing and you're going to meet another person who loves music, I think that's a great place to go.
Yeah. I think, women go nuts for musicians. Like I think a perfect example is like Mick Jagger. I mean, that guy looks like a foot, and he's dating some of the most gorgeous woman you've ever seen in your entire life. What do you guys think it is about just a musician or an artist
Harry
that's
Styles,
really? I mean, but he's actually attractive though.
totally attractive.
He doesn't look like a foot.
He doesn't,
He doesn't look like that.
but they call him like the younger Mick Jagger. Like that's what
Oh,
they
really?
refer to, yeah.
He's way better looking than Mick Jagger, though, in my opinion.
He's also like 50 years younger.
Yeah, he's also 50 years younger. But there have been guys that like look a little, edgy. Like what's the guy from Motley Crue, Tommy Lee, whatever.
Mhm.
Do you guys think he's attractive? Like, I mean, just by facially, let's take the musician out of it. No,
No,
okay. We saw a lot of
think-
shaking of the heads.
I think it honestly, the musician is what like gives them the hot factor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There is something about a pretty man with problems, hence musician.
And what do they sing about?
And what I'm like, oh my goodness, you're speaking to my soul. I get sucked in. Like when someone starts playing music or like they share that passion, that draws me in a lot. I love people who have a lot of passion. And
Yeah.
that can sometimes.
That's exactly what I talk about.
Yeah,
passion's-
like I really love that, but then that can have that double-edged sword where it goes the equal and opposite disaster route. So
Right, and they
I-
turn into Marilyn Manson and they start doing bad things.
Okay.
But yeah, I had a guy reach out to me who's actually I didn't know who he was, but I checked out his Instagram and he's got hundreds of thousands of followers. He's clearly a very talented musician. And he's like, I get tons of attention from women. And by the way, I don't know why he's watching my stuff, but he's like, he messaged me and he goes, "What do you think it is about being a rock star or a musician that really helps?" And so the answer that I gave him was more or less like, women are. Dating is an emotional decision. When you're attracted to somebody, it's an emotional decision that you're doing. And a problem with I see a lot of the guys that I coach is they are not very emotionally intelligent, they're not comfortable sharing those things, they close it off. And so that inhibits the connection a little bit. They don't show passion for what they're doing. As a musician, you have a lot of things. Number one, you got status, because a bunch of people are seeing you playing. A bunch of people are like listening to your music. People know about you. And so especially if you're looking at somebody on stage, they have an incredible boost of status there. So that there's that. The second thing is that they're showing passion for their work, and you can see it, and you can see it in their face and the way that so it touches you at an emotional level as well. And then the third thing that I'd say as well is that they're doing something that they love. Now, a lot of guys, when they're doing something that they love, whether it's business, a lot of times, you know, I've dated women who like don't really get what I do. My girlfriend does, but they don't really understand, like, oh, you're like a dating coach? Like, what do guys need? Yeah, exactly. I get that a lot. So they don't really like get or understand or appreciate what I do. When you're a musician and you like that person's music, you are absolutely appreciating what they do. So it's like three things that you're hitting really hard. And so that's why I think like rock stars and probably like NBA players do the best when it comes to like getting women. But yeah, that's cool. So festivals. If a single guy is watching this and they are wondering which festivals to go to, maybe to meet possibly some women or to have the most fun, what would you recommend? Which festivals would you recommend in the United States?
In the U.S.
Oh, wait. It could be anywhere if you've been to I don't know if you've been to other festivals, but.
You know, honestly, I would say take a look at what you want, because if you're traveling, you're going to meet someone probably from a different place.
Right.
So if you're going to like the EDC or something, you know that you're going to meet someone from, if you're looking intentionally for a relationship, you're going to find someone that may be from somewhere else, which you have to just think about, okay, is this going to work for me? My 7-year relationship, he was from South Africa. And so we had
That's a hot accent right there.
Yeah, we had a long distance, a lot of stuff living over there. And so you have to think about logistics. I think there's 3 buckets to a healthy relationship.
Sure.
One is, you know, you have to be like physically attracted to someone.
Mm-hmm.
2, you got to think about the emotional stuff. And 3 is one we often forget about, which is logistics.
Yeah.
So where are you? Does that person have children? How far away do you live? And that comes into like traveling for festivals.
Sure.
However, there are local things too. If you check out a local festival or local event, like we have like even Austin City Limits, there's different things. You might have a like more chance of meeting someone local or like taking in something small. So it's really about what you want, what you're willing to give. If you want to meet someone specifically from somewhere else to check out somewhere else and get to know someone from another place, then travel to meet people. But if you want something more local, you can check out the local scene in any city.
Cool. So one thing I noticed, so I love electronic music. Never been a big country fan, but when I was younger, I was in like my mid-20s, and I got into country music for like a little bit. And I forced myself to get into country music because my buddy came back from Stagecoach one year and he was like, you got to come to Stagecoach. And I'm like, why? He goes, dude, there's so many like really pretty girls there. You got to go. So I went, I put on a cowboy hat, I put on boots. I listened to Luke Bryant for like 3 hours. I got into it. Listen to him. I listened to Florida Georgia Line. Anyway, so we go to the Stagecoach, and I'm not joking. It was like 70% win. And when the ratio is skewed that much, because I say festivals is like usually like pretty 50-50. Yeah. By the way, if you guys are ever going to Stagecoach or like a country music festival, wear a cowboy hat. Just do it. Just stand out. You look great. You look like you're part of the thing. Just do it. Anyway, so I go to Stagecoach, and I didn't really like the music that much, but I got a lot of female attention, and it was fun for that. But ultimately, at the end of the day, do I think I would have connected with somebody further than that festival? This is probably not. But if you love country music and you're not going to Stagecoach and you're a single guy, what are you doing?
I do have a question for you. Do you think people that have different religions can be together, like different beliefs and religions, and like grew up like totally different, totally opposite? Do you think that they will last long term?
Yeah, that's a tough one. So it really depends. I know certain religions if your family is like really into it, they're like, oh, absolutely not, no way. But I've coached a lot of guys who have like dated people and, gotten married to people who have like a different religion to them. And it comes down to the values, I think, that are like more important. So like, let's say you get someone who's Jewish and someone who's like, I don't know, Catholic or whatever. and they're willing to come together. Like the families are okay with it, or maybe they just don't dissent enough that they do it anyway. If their values are the same, like maybe they value like their alone time, or they value like family, or they value, the place that they're living in, the lifestyle that they're living in, it absolutely 100% can work. I think the religion though, if you're like someone who is, I have some clients that are Zoroastrian. You guys know what that is? You know what
Never heard of it.
Okay, Zoroastrian is a religion. It's like the original Persian religion. There's only like, I think a few 100,000 people that follow the religion these days. So there's just so few of them that like they have such a need to preserve their religion, because if they start marrying outside, the religion is going to die out very quickly. So yeah, a few of my clients are like, they really want to keep the religion because they don't want it to die out. Their value systems are very important. So they have like these conferences that they can go to where everybody can meet each other and probably hook up and maybe start dating and that sort of stuff. So I think it matters on values. But what do you guys think? Have you ever dated somebody else? I don't know if you're religious or anything like that.
Or it doesn't have to be religion, like just different beliefs. Like if you believe like
Political?
like no, like more so of like it's a broad spectrum of beliefs. Yeah. So like how a man think a woman should carry themselves, and even though he's attracted to her and he wants to be with her, she wants to be free, and it's like he's looking at her like, okay, I want to be with you because of your personality, but at the end of the day, I don't like that dress on you. Go take it off. But she doesn't like the assertiveness of him. Like, no, but I want to wear this. Why can't I wear this? Just so like any type of belief. Just.
Well, I'd like to talk on this one
Good.
because my relationship was 7 years with a South African, and he was Dutch South African. And I thought when I met him, we actually had a very similar upbringing in our faith.
Yeah.
And so I thought, oh, this can work. But when it came down to it, the South African men, especially the Dutch South African men, have a very different dynamic to, say, American women in general sense. And so we actually had a lot of like butting of heads in terms of like, we were both very masculine, and he wants someone a little more meek, like a little bit more submissive, not in a bad way, just like that's how the culture dynamic. So we did struggle a lot with that, and ultimately that is why one of the reasons our relationship ended. I think he's a great person. We just didn't have that dynamic. So that was something I didn't take into account when I met him, and we got married. We were actually married. We got married very quickly, and then it just came to a head, and we just could not make the dynamic work anymore. So I think that is something to consider when, if you're dating someone from somewhere else or maybe has a different background, just to like make sure you have open cards right away, just to have those conversations. And I think I was just looking so hard for this perfect relationship that I ignored a lot of things that I didn't agree with. And so ultimately that's kind of was one of the reasons.
Did you try and accommodate? Did you try and be like, oh, I'll try this and see how I feel? Or were you like, no way?
We did. And it felt like for both of us, we became very strained because we felt like we couldn't be ourselves.
Okay.
And so that was a huge, component of that. So.
Yeah. Makes sense.
Chime in.
Yeah.
Well,
What do you think about this?
I'm getting older. I'm not getting no younger. I
We
still have my
all are.
little baby face, but I'm just getting to a point to where, like, how you can just be so tired of butting heads.
Right.
I either agree to disagree or adapt, regardless if it's what I want or not. So it's like, I feel like I give myself the sword, like either way
You give yourself the sword?
Yeah, like either way I cut myself. Like,
oh, okay.
You know what I mean? Like,
Makes
because
sense.
you might not get what you might be with this person, but you really feel a certain way towards certain things.
Right.
But you really want to be with this person, so you rather just adapt and just let them do what it is that they want to do. But on the inside, you're still like
Compromising yourself?
screwed up. Yeah. But like you're okay with it because the little mental switch is flipped. So it's like, okay, you do what you want to do because this is what you want to do. So
does that
I'm gonna just sit back and just chill.
You not wanting to like start over and go through the whole like dating stage again with people because like you're getting to an age where you're just like, okay, I'm done dating. Whoever I'm with, I'm gonna just deal with it, you know? Or is it like how do you deal with something where you feel strongly about something and like she's disagreeing with you, but you're like, okay, I feel strongly, but I'm gonna just accept this. How do you feel inside, really? Because like if you don't agree with it and it really bothers you, but you're saying like, okay, just to make peace.
Well, once you mentally leave that situation, not like leave the person, like mentally leave the relationship or the situationship, but once you mentally like and emotionally let go of what it is that's bothering you that a person is doing, like life is so much easier.
Mm-hmm.
And the fact that like it's to be honest, I don't want to date no more.
You're dating somebody right now. I thought you were somebody right now.
Yeah, I am an ain't. But like this person has my heart, you know what I'm saying?
Okay.
And I've been wanting to get married since I was thinking about marriage at the age of 15.
Right.
You know, so I stand on it. Like I come from a family of commitment.
Mm-hmm.
My mother, she commits,
Yeah.
she believes in marriage, you know, and she raised me on principles and morals.
Yeah.
So, you know, I'm like a masculine version of her,
Mm-hmm.
you know, so it's just like, I don't feel like I'm wasting my time,
Mm-hmm.
but the same energy I can put into dating somebody
Right.
new, I could be putting that energy into myself.
Mm-hmm.
So with my situationship, like I'm fine where I'm at.
Mm-hmm.
As long as things are getting better,
Okay.
then I'm okay. But I don't want to. I'm not going to tell you my favorite color. I'm not going to start going on there. Oh, what's your age? Oh, what's your name? Or
That's
what do you
Go through the whole rigmarole?
I don't want
Like,
Y'all hate the small talk? Nobody likes the small talk?
I'm so tired of like.
I don't care about your football team.
Right.
You know, it's just like
All right, let me say this about small talk, you guys. Okay, small talk is actually super, super important, and I know everybody hates it. Nobody loves going through it. Okay, so everybody wants to skip the small talk. Okay, I'm gonna explain to you why small talk is important. Okay, small talk, first of all, you got to start somewhere. But the other thing too is that when you first meeting someone, and you might not enjoy the process, that's okay, that's fair. But you always have to do it, and the reason why is because there are certain people in this world who can't do small talk, okay? Small talk allows you to see that this person is like a normal functioning human being, okay?
right.
I come from San Francisco. There are a lot of people in San Francisco who cannot do small talk, and those people are homeless people.
Whoa.
Homeless people never do small talk with you.
What?
They just come up to you and they just start shouting stuff about whatever, and I've dealt with a lot of them involuntarily, and so small talk allows me to see somebody that they're, hey, this is a normal person. This is like, they can go through the typical thing. We'll do this little dance for a little bit, and then we'll get to the meaty beauty in a little bit. But
I never
yeah.
thought of it that way. Since you put it that way, I'm back to the small talk.
Yeah, you have to see he's a normal, well-adjusted person. Because like, if you think about it, like I've had homeless people like rush up to me and tell me that I'm gonna burn in hell and like the government's out to get them. Okay, that ain't small talk. He's going from 0 to 100 real quick.
PTSD.
And that could be like overwhelming too. To a
Mhm.
person. Like even in like the normal dating outside of like the homeless people.
Yeah.
It's just like if a man come up to me personally, I don't like to be hit on
Yeah.
for whatever reason. Like everybody I date, I hit on them, male
Oh.
or female.
Ooh.
Like so, it's just because I hear the same things.
Mhm.
Hey, or you know, oh, you're so beautiful. I don't hear anything different.
Yeah.
For me, that's
Don't use the
normal.
"you're so beautiful" line, guys.
Yeah,
She's heard it a
it's
million
like-
times.
Okay, it's old, you know. So, if someone came up to me trying to hit on me, I feel like, yeah, I say, oh, if he says you're beautiful, I've heard that a million times. But if he came up with something totally ironic, then I'll be like, wait, you coming on too strong, and it'll make me feel uncomfortable too.
Yeah.
So I really don't know.
Yeah.
It's like a
I think you gotta like ease in. I always advise my clients, like when they're like, "Oh, how do I flirt with her?" I'm like, "Well, talk like a normal human being first,
yeah.
and then work your way into the flirting." You know, it's like sex. You can't, you got to do some foreplay first before you get into the good stuff. So, like, it's all important. It's all part of the dance. Like when it comes to dating and that sort of stuff. So yeah, small talk for me. What I use, and I don't know what you advise your clients with small talk and all that, but Yeah, focus on the details, remember where they're from, all that stuff. But what you really should focus on, because at the end of the day, people really don't care where you're from and what you do that much,
Right.
or whether you like to go skiing. I mean, maybe if you really like to go skiing, you go skiing together. But at the end of the day, like that's not the real details that you're looking for. What you should look at is the way that they're saying it. You know, what kind of mood that they're in. If do they look stressed? Do they look agitated? I mean, if you're talking to a woman at the bar, or maybe you're talking to her at a coffee shop or something like that, and she looks flustered, you know, maybe leave her alone a little bit, you know. Or if she's like looking really pleasant and she's like looking like she's down for a conversation, okay, keep talking to her a little bit longer. But the small talk allows you to kind of see where that person's at, see that they're a normal, well-adjusted human being, and decide whether you want to keep their interaction going further. That's how I like to think about it. But yeah, so we were talking a little bit earlier about minorities in dating. We were talking a little bit earlier about setting boundaries. Do you advise when setting boundaries, not just for dating apps, but setting boundaries in like a relationship as well too?
Oh yeah. So something that I kind of call myself like the spiritual dating coach, because my background is I was a sex and dating journalist.
Yeah, I remember you telling me. That's super interesting.
It was super interesting.
Can we pause it? Just what did you write about typically?
Yeah.
Like, what were the topics? Like,
Exactly. If you Google me, you'll find like things on all sorts of fun things, masturbation, like oral sex, all
what was like your favorite article that you wrote?
Oh God, there's so many. One time I hired a male escort to go to a dinner party with me.
Yeah.
Because I was like single and I was tired of being asked why I was single.
Uh-huh.
And so like I did it as a jokey thing.
How did you find this person?
There's a
Craigslist?
website.
Is it Craigslist?
No, there's a
Okay,
website
sorry.
called rentagent.com.
Rent-A-Gent.
Rentagent.com.
We're not even sponsored by it, guys.
No,
This
we're
is
not.
not a sponsor.
I promise. And you just get to pick. It's
That's
like
such a classy
it's
name.
like going shopping. And so I picked this like 6'4", like blonde-haired, blue-eyed, like stunning guy. And I met him, and it turns out he's like Mormon from Utah, but like he does that. This is like his side
Of course,
gig.
yeah.
And he just
Oh.
Those
I
Mormons.
went to the dinner party, and everyone was like, "Your boyfriend's really hot," and I was like, "Thanks." So I wrote an article.
Did you write it? Did you have a story about how you guys met? Did you have that when you were at the dinner party?
Oh yeah, of course.
What was
Gotta
your
have all
story?
your bases covered. We met at the park. It was all very, casual and normal. But yeah, that was the most fun. And so I did that for 4 years, and then I moved down to Austin. I needed a break from media because we were talking about this. This was I was a journalist when the internet was like starting to explode. Instagram just became a thing. People would like comment all sorts of mean things, especially when like you're a female on the internet. You get so much hate, especially from men.
Yeah.
And they're like, "You're a slut. You're this. You're that."
You were calling you a slut?
Oh yeah.
For what?
For writing about sex for a living. For,
That okay.
I'd get
I
sent products like sex toys, dildos, and review them.
Did you get religious people reaching out to you like you're gonna burn in hell or something like that?
Oh yeah, all the time. I would get death threats. And so I moved to Austin, and I was like, I need a break. I need a break from media. I need a break from all like the people sitting in their mom's basements, like making mean comments.
Yeah.
So I took a break. I ended up doing my yoga teacher training here, becoming a yoga teacher. And then I was like, okay, I'm ready to do dating stuff again. So then I started my dating coaching business, but now it was great because I had this spiritual yogic background with me.
Yeah.
So I call myself a spiritual dating coach because mindfulness is crucial to dating well.
Mm-hmm.
You have to be a mindful person to date well. And what I mean by that is, like, for example, you were talking about men being in bars and like not knowing how the woman's feeling or signaling to them if she's even into the conversation. These men are not self-aware, and they're also not aware of their surroundings and the women they're speaking to. So mindfulness is something I harp on and I preach. And even being a frustrated person in dating, like if you're super frustrated and you're like, F everyone, go meditate every morning for 10 minutes and then watch your mood just instantly change and date from that place. So what was the question again?
I don't even remember. I don't even care. Where we're at's totally fine.
Mindfulness, guys. Mindfulness.
We were talking about boundaries in the relationship, but now I want to talk about mindfulness in dating because that's really important. So, what do you think is the biggest difference between conscious dating and just regular dating?
Great question. So, Like, for example, a lot of women are conditioned to be people pleasers, right? Like
Right.
we're born, that's just how we're born and bred.
Yeah.
And so women will go into the world dating men, and they'll date douchebags or dickheads or emotionally unavailable guys. And they won't realize that they're dating someone who's like not worthy of them, right?
Mhm.
And like I coach women sometimes, and I'm like, you are a queen, you are a queen, you are a queen. You have to constantly remind yourself of that, right? Because if you're not mindful that you're dating from your trauma,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
Which is people pleasing, or maybe like me, your parents were divorced and you have daddy issues, so you have to spend your whole life working on that, right?
Right.
If you don't work through that, you're going to attract the wrong type of person for you. And you're going to keep repeating that pattern until you consciously break the pattern.
Yeah.
And that's what I like to do with my clients is they come to me. I have a 48-year-old female client right now who is still dating douchebags. And she's like, I'm 48 and I'm still doing it. And I'm like, girl, at least you reach the point where you're like, this has got to change.
Yeah, enough is enough.
Better late than never,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah. Every time I tell my female friends, every time you ditch the nice guy on the date to go bang your toxic ex, you're making the world a worse place.
Okay. It's a cycle.
Every time a fairy dies.
Every time. It's like the toxic ex is only hot when you're on a date with a nice guy
Yeah.
or like a guy who can't get it up. Or
And why
By the way,
is
if there are
that?
any guys who can't get it up, that there are ways to handle it. I teach it in my program. It's not a huge deal. If she likes you, she will give you a second date. Okay. But
so
yeah.
true.
Yeah. Anyway, what were we talking about?
I don't know.
Boundaries in a relationship. Boundaries in a relationship.
Yes.
Keep it all day.
Okay.
You know, yes, mindfulness and boundaries are so important. And like something that we were talking about earlier, like a lot of people are like, okay, I'm not going to date anymore, right? Like we see a lot of people like this who are just
Oh yeah,
so
people
fed
giving
up.
up.
With
Dude,
dating.
it
Giving
breaks
up.
my heart every time I hear somebody say, I'm like, because I know because they've had a couple bad experiences, but there's so many
Right.
amazing ones out there. Yeah,
There's
it
so
bothers
many
me.
amazing people out there. And I
Mhm.
think it's so easy to get into, like in spiritual lingo, I call it low vibration versus high vibration.
Yeah.
So when you're a low vibrational person, you experience things like depression, grief, frustration, stress. Maybe you're sexually frustrated, right?
Mhm.
Anger and all of this stuff, jaded. You're feeling
Mhm.
jaded, right? So if you're dating from that low vibe place, you're going to attract the same thing.
Yeah.
But when you're high vibe, you're going to attract an amazing person. So but the thing is, you have to do the high vibe stuff at home, right?
Mhm.
Like people are like, well, Sheena, it's like girls get so much hate for this. They're like, you're a pretty girl. Life is easy for you. Dude, excuse me.
Where?
First of all, I wake up, I practice yoga for an hour, then I meditate for 20 minutes, then I go sit in the chair to get my nails done. I pay $100 to do that. Then I come back, like it's work.
Yeah.
This is hard work. My life is not easy.
Mhm.
And you get a lot of men that are like, girls have it so easy. No, like I have to put myself in this high vibrational state. And that's why I can now date amazing men.
Yeah.
So whatever you're doing, be mindful, create a mindfulness routine. Like that's the number one tip I can give you. If you're coming from the place of like, I'm having really bad luck in dating, have a routine. And that could mean even if you're a guy going to the gym, like doing whatever gets you in that groove,
Right.
and then date.
Yeah.
Go
okay.
ahead. I'm gonna go after you.
Yeah. It's like we have to pour self-love and come from that
Exactly.
place of that inner love and that inner connectedness with that routine or whatever that looks like for you, journaling, meditation. But you have to fill your cup and that raises your vibration, and then you're going to attract those people that are also on that. I've experienced some lows of that
Yeah.
recently, and then now I'm kind of raising back up into that vibration. So
Yeah.
that's such a great tip. I love that.
The way I define it in my coaching program is like abundance versus scarcity. Like there's an abundance of opportunities, of people, of amazing experiences, or you feel like, oh, there's no amazing experience. There's no great people out there. She's all I can get. And when you're in there, it's really tough to leave someone who's bad for you. It's really tough to even attract someone who's going to be good for you. Because I don't know if you've noticed with this in dating, when it rains, it pours. When you're starting to feel well and you're feeling confident, when you're dating one awesome person, another awesome person comes in. But when things suck, when your game sucks, when you're feeling bad, it's like you can't even get one person that you like to like you back. So you have to attract that energy and bring that into your life. And the way when I say attract the energy, I like to define it because sometimes people get, technical with me. I'm that kind of person too. Like, what does that mean? Attract that energy. Okay. focus on positive things, like write down, journal, like, hey, I'm going to do 3 things today, and then do those 3 things. And then you look back in your journal and you're like, dude, I am crushing it. Every single day I'm doing the stuff that I say that I'm going to do. I'm seeing awesome opportunities. I'm seeing amazing people in my life. Write it down and record it. That way you have evidence and you have a stack of undeniable proof that your life is as amazing as you claim it to be, rather than focusing on the negative stuff. So I like to give people, make evidence, prove to your brain that what you're thinking is not actually reality, and you can create the reality that you want.
What if you don't want to attract people though? What if what you want for yourself is just you?
Mm-hmm.
What if, you know what I'm saying? Like, because
would you be down to attract more experiences though? Maybe not people, but experiences in your life. Would that be?
Yeah, you can just go outside and experience some stuff. Shucks, you can because I used to plant my feet
Mm-hmm.
in the grass.
Mm-hmm.
I used to do hot yoga.
Mm-hmm.
I used to work out excessively until I
Mm-hmm.
started getting real big, and I'm just like, oh, I don't want to be looking too mannish now, But like it's like after 13 years of just blah blah blah, coming into situationships, not situationships, but like dating and
Mm-hmm.
relationships, like with high vibrations,
Mm-hmm.
just for that to like basically be gone.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, okay, like I can be high vibrational
Mm-hmm.
by myself.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Which is why I say, if my situationship, like
Mm-hmm.
if it doesn't, if it doesn't work, then
Mm-hmm.
I want to be by myself. I'd rather be by myself.
Mm-hmm.
Will I go backwards for that person? Yes, I would.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's the only person I truly want.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And I made myself a promise, basically, like, this is the last person for me. Like, all the love that I poured out into others, like, I'm gonna pour that love into myself.
Mm-hmm.
So
I think that's like kind of what she touched on too. Like, if you just like work on yourself, like put all that energy into yourself, like you're gonna attract the people that's on the same vibration as you. And it may not necessarily be like, oh, I want to be in a relationship with this person, but it could be like a friendship, someone that's just on the same level that can like bring you higher than where you are. Well, I feel like that'll be good.
Yeah.
But that's the beauty of it, isn't it? Because it's your choice.
Right.
You have choice now. When you are high vibe and you want to be alone, be alone.
Yeah.
Like no one's going to tell you otherwise, and if you stay there, you can create such a beautiful life for yourself where you're totally happy on your own. And if and when you're ready to bring someone in, that's great because you're already there.
Yeah.
And then everyone you bring in is going to be there too.
I think go ahead. Jinx. So what I was going to say, Sora, is that it seems to me like, when we talk about high vibration, you brought up a good point. I don't think you said it outright, but like when people say, oh, you want to attract like positivity and abundance, it sounds like a lot, I find that the most mature and the most well-adjusted people, they find like that middle ground. That's not low. That's not super high, because you're not going to be super high all the time. Like you're not going to be, encountering amazing experiences every single day, like, because it'll get boring, and then it'll just be like too much, right? For every drug, there's a come down, for every like magnificent situation, there's going to be a tough day. For every sunny day, there's going to be a rainy day. Okay, enough examples. But what I'm saying is that the middle ground, I think, once you're comfortable with that, and it sounds to me like you're very comfortable with that, I think you are comfortable with yourself and you're comfortable doing whatever it is, like Sheena said, like you're comfortable doing what you want to do and you're not feeling pressured to move in any direction.
And that's like self-love, because now you know your boundaries. Now you know what you not going to deal with and what you is willing to like basically compromise with person in the future, just in case.
Yeah.
I think that's a good thing, because a lot of people don't have self-love. Like me, I have self-love now, but it took me a long time to get to this point, because when I try to like pour it into myself, it always came off as like, oh, I'm selfish. And like, so it was like a little mind thing with other people. And it's just like, dang, so I just gotta like give all to the other person and I can't do anything for myself. And it's just like, do I really love myself? Because I'm allowing this person to like manipulate me to the point where I feel bad for doing for myself, So It's just like, when you get to a point of like self-love, I think it's amazing. You can do whatever.
Yeah, 100%. I find that self-love is good in certain circumstances, and maybe like let's say somebody's really, really depressed. I find I deal with a lot of clients who are depressed. So if you're a depressed person and you're trying to figure out, well, how do I improve my mental health? How do I get better? How do I start feeling better? I find that self-love can be really, really challenging because you're in a depressed state. So what I find that if you're a normal person and you're not a sociopath, I find that giving towards others and making other people feel better actually makes you feel better. So yes, I think self-love is good, but the feeling and the happiness that you get from doing good for another person, like today was my sister's birthday. I called, wished her a happy birthday, bought her a present. I felt really good after that phone call. I felt amazing, and I did something for her. And, I think that if you're in a tough spot or if you're in a tough vibration, then start giving towards others and that can help. However, the caveat is when you're in a relationship and all you do is give, I think people at first might enjoy seeing their partner happy, but then they start to look back and they're like, wait, I'm not feeling so great anymore,
Yeah.
And I think that that's the trap. And I think that when people get into that, if you're a people pleaser, you might be addicted to that feeling of giving towards others and getting that feeling of making somebody else happy, and you get happy as a result. But then you've neglected your needs to the point where it's like, okay, I'm not doing anything for myself and none of my needs are being met. So I think it's kind of an insidious thing where you have to find balance between the two, right?
Because even in the dating world, like I know this guy that I was really good friends with, and he was older. And all the women that he dated, he just felt like he was just like giving everything to them, like in the dating world, not even in a relationship, like paying for all the dates. And he's making the phone calls. He's always making the first move, always texting first. And it's like, I'm giving everything, making you happy when you come over here. I'm giving you gifts. It makes me happy that I'm seeing you happy. But then he looked back at it and like, when she doesn't answer the phone call, it's like rage, because it's like,
you put so much into it.
To get nothing back. So it's just like, it definitely is a balance.
And that comes down to setting boundaries again.
Yeah.
I have a story on this. My last apartment in Austin, I had a neighbor. His dog was my dog's best friend. And so they started playing, and then I became...
Your dog had a best friend?
Yeah. He's...
I'm not a dog owner. I love dogs, though. But like they have best friends?
Yes. He has like a very poppin' social life.
Okay.
He's about to go see his girlfriend, Bunny. So
he's got a girl.
He's dating somebody?
he has like 3 girlfriends. Yeah.
Oh, there's a little player
he's
over
a
here.
little so
He's pawing his way around the field.
on his way around. So my neighbor would start, like, it became obvious he had a crush on me at some point. And so he would start just randomly buying me gifts and dropping them in front of my front door. And they'd be pets for...
Is that a good strategy?
For my dog. I mean,
Oh.
it didn't work. I wasn't into him. Like, I just wasn't into him.
Why didn't he just ask you out?
And yeah, I mean, that probably would have been the smarter thing. But he kept over giving.
Yeah.
Like he bought Malcolm a new leash, and then he bought him a bunch of treats, and then he bought this and that. And I'm like, as a woman, you feel overwhelmed because you're like, I don't want to be mean by being, also he's my neighbor.
Yeah,
and
that's
that's
a tough position.
Guys, never hit on your neighbor. Don't hit on your neighbor, because
I disagree. I think you can, but you have to do it right. I'll explain.
well,
Anyway, continue.
yeah, okay. But like, if she's not into it, then it's like, and then you're also my dog's best friend's dad. So like, I don't want to ruin the friendship. Dog's best friend's dad. So you know what I mean? Because that's his bud. So he kept over giving, and I felt so overwhelmed and uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And I kept waiting for him as like a 37-year-old man to realize, to be mindful of the fact that he's overgiving and I'm not reciprocating.
Yeah.
I'm giving you one-word answers. I'm saying thank you and shutting the door. Like, take the hint, you know?
Right.
But people with poor boundary setting, like, they'll keep going and going and going.
Yeah.
And then, just like Kay said, you start to resent that person.
Right.
And he did. He started to resent me. But
Mhm.
dude, I'm not the problem here. Your problem is that you don't know how to set boundaries.
Yeah.
The normal guy, or like a guy with healthy boundaries, would give, she wouldn't reciprocate, and then he'd stop.
Mhm.
Right? So that's where the mindfulness part comes in.
Yeah, 100%. You should have checked in with himself a little bit on that one. But I think a lot of guys, because once they fixate on something, they have really a lot of trouble, like, giving it up, and
Like
you
a
have
dog with a bone.
We're going to be doing dog puns for the rest of this podcast. It's going to be nothing but dog puns. So, but with the unfortunate circumstance of him being your neighbor, so I feel like he was just like nearby you. And sometimes there's like circumstance where maybe you work with a guy or you sit next to him in class every day, and just by the proximity, he thinks he's got a chance, you know, or he thinks he already has that in. And yeah, I mean, that's a tough one for you in your position. I mean, looking back, is there anything that you could have done to like, you know, let him know like, hey, dude, stop with the gifts?
Yeah, I think me being like a more of a people pleaser
Yeah.
did not mesh well with his giving style,
Right.
because I also never put my foot down and said, dude, this is too much. And I
Mhm.
could have, but as a woman, like, you don't want to come off as can I curse?
You can fucking curse if you want to.
BIT. I don't want to be a bitch. So like,
Okay.
I'm not going to go up to him and be like, this is too much. Like, stop. Like,
Yeah.
that's a lot for me to say.
Yeah.
Again, especially you're my neighbor. So what did I start doing? I just started not coming out and hiding in my house. And that didn't work.
Oh,
well
damn.
either.
This is what I would have done if I was in that position. I would have been like, listen, I appreciate the effort, sir. It is not working. But what I would advise you to do is X, Y, Z. Would that have worked?
But I can coach you.
Yeah, I was
And
about to
you
say,
wanna be my
I would have put it
client.
again. Yeah, but,
Right.
but please, if you sign up for this coaching program, I can teach you how to do it. Not for me, not for me. Let me make that very clear. Not for me, but for another person who is like me.
Exactly.
They wouldn't want to hear me say nothing because I would straight up, look, this ain't that.
I need
ain't
you.
that.
honestly, Sora, just the
I
look
am
that you
so
gave me right now
straightforward.
would probably have been enough.
Like,
That look
because-
right there.
Because things can like people can like even though like you weren't doing anything like as far as like you weren't like entertaining it, like to them in their head
Accepting
it can
it.
come off like, oh, like she's leading me on. Like
Yeah.
I've seen, man, I'm telling you, people have a whole storyline made
Mhm.
up in their head,
Mhm.
and it don't even have nothing to do with the
Mm-hmm.
person. Like it's just
Right.
like,
Right.
you want this person so bad, or you want to take this person out or whatever. Because
Mhm.
I've had people, you know, feel led on by me. That's why I'm just like, I be straight up with them. I might at times I get a little boisterous, but that's because like at the end of the day, like I'm kind of passive aggressive. Like
Mhm.
I'm a sweetheart. Like I'm a crybaby,
Yeah. Yeah.
and I'm hot headed at the same time.
Mhm.
So we're just like, people gonna keep pushing it and pushing it and pushing it to see how far they can go, and then try to like throw it back. I done had things thrown back on me as if
Mhm.
like, oh well, you was leading me on. No, I wasn't. If
Mhm.
I don't give you any type of verbal response, or you know, I felt like if I didn't feed it, then it was
Yeah.
gonna die down.
Yeah.
But no, I had to start. Look, this ain't that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. So I think, okay, so I'll talk about this with what I would do. Like if you were a neighbor of somebody and you wanted to try and make progress with them. Okay, so making progress with someone who you work with, or your, are you laughing at my
We're
verbiage?
just-
Making progress. Is that a weird thing to say?
Okay. This is a segment on fucking your neighbor.
This is how to fuck your neighbor. All right,
Let's be
cool.
clear.
Okay.
I have fucked my neighbors before, and it's
You
good.
just didn't want
When
that
it,
one.
listen, when it works, because it's like, hey, come upstairs. Great. Ooh, this is nice, man.
Actually.
Right?
Yeah.
Sorry, continue.
Yeah, but I'm curious to know how your situation turned out. So, like, I have tons of guys who have like friends with, they have women in their apartment complex or whatever that they see, and they're like, well, I don't know what to do. Like, they, you know, I don't want to. How do I talk to my neighbor? I'm like, okay, just make normal conversation like you normally would. You know, you kind of want to go a little bit more of the friend route at the beginning, okay? Not being like totally like with friends with them, but invite them to something fun. You don't have to invite them out on a date right away, because that way you ask them out and they say no, and you're like, oh, or they say that, oh, I can't that day, or I'm busy, or they make some excuse, and then it kind of leaves it hanging a little bit. You want to eliminate as many of those as possible, but invite her to something that could be fun. It could be like, we're all getting a barbecue at the pool later, or we're all going to happy hour later on Tuesday. Do you want to come? Like, you're inviting her to something fun. She shows up, then you can talk to her, flirt with her there a little bit, see if she's with it. If she's not with it, then okay, you tried, you've done your thing. And, you know, if you still want to keep inviting her out, if you can be friends with her, that's fine too. But you're giving them the option, you're giving them an environment where you can see if it works out without actually having to go for a cold, hard rejection, or having to really put yourself out there and feel bad, or do something nice for them and then they don't reciprocate. So that's my my advice, and this actually works not just with neighbors, but like, let's say I've had plenty of guys actually date their coworkers. A lot of people don't advise this. You should tread carefully, but in my experience, the reason why guys get in trouble with their coworker is they just do something like way off the wall, or like, you know, they really upset somebody. But if you're friendly and you go about it in this way, there's very little chance that it could end up badly, because you're starting at it from like a friend's standpoint and not from like, hey, I'm trying to date you. It's either, you know, go out with me or reject me, or go out with me for a little bit and then reject me, which can be even worse, you know? So in my experience, that's how it's done. But well, how did your experience happen?
Yeah. Yeah. You know, the first neighbors that I did hook up with, they had that it factor, you know? And I think that's the thing, the funny thing with
did they ask you out first though? Or did they were like, hey, let's
actually, I asked them out.
Oh, you asked them
Yeah.
out. Oh, okay. Well,
So
women can go a little bit
yeah.
more direct in my experience, but yeah. Anyway.
Yeah. Again, also I met them at the dog park. If you like, I tell all my single clients, if you are single, like just get a dog. Like it's such a social activity and it's such a great way to meet people. But yeah, I asked them out, and that's, you know, eventually it led somewhere. But I think where with the most recent neighbor where it didn't work, I think a lot of guys think like if they just keep pushing or if they just keep giving or whatever that energy exchange is, like they'll like her.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, like if she's not into you, I don't care. You could get me freaking $1,000 gift card to my favorite clothing store and I'm still not going to like you. You know, like you could do the most and I would still not like you. So it's like, figure out the vibes first. And I think I can't explain it. The first two guys, I picked them up at the dog park. I thought they were cute. They were my type. I like muscles. They had muscles. This guy didn't. So it's like, you know,
well, I think we found the defining factor.
So, okay.
We've narrowed it down. The case is cracked. Sheena likes muscles.
Okay. Well, yeah, we'll leave it at that. But yeah, you know, if she's not into you, there's nothing you can do that's not true. You can get out of the friend zone. You can get out of the
Yes, I have done it. I've advised clients to do it.
Yeah.
It is possible to break out of the friend
It's
zone. You can
possible.
Shawshank Redemption that shit. It does work.
Absolutely. But you have to be really smart about how you maneuver and doing more. When she's here and consistently going here, it's usually not going to work. Usually you kind of have to like pull back a little bit. So
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, let's talk about the friend zone for a little bit. Has anybody experienced have you had a male friend that was in the friend zone who broke out of it? Have you dated someone who started out as a friend? What is the vibe with that, you guys?
I don't date my friends. I don't look at my friends like that.
Yeah.
I would say, yeah, I don't know. I put people in the friend zone.
Okay.
I would because sometimes I've dealt with a few people that really have anger issues. So rejecting someone, especially in like a close setting where it's like intimate kind of, and it's like, okay, I'm not into you like that. It could be like a little dangerous sometimes, depending on who you're dealing with. So instead of that, I'll like put them in the friend zone. Like, hey, I'm not ready right now, but you know, X, Y, and Z. But I don't know, like anybody I've ever like talked to, because I go for the person, I end up in a relationship with them. So
that makes sense. Yeah, I mean, I think it really depends on like the person you're dealing with. I think starting from a friendship is actually fine. I think it can be better, you know, like if you're friends first. Yeah, exactly. You know, I find that some of the relationships that are the most toxic are the ones that you just dive head first into and don't even know where the bottom is, you know, so like I find that there are a lot of my clients who, you know, they want to date somebody. They're so paranoid about being seen as a friend. And they're like, I don't want to talk about that with her. I'm like, you don't want to ask her how she's doing? I'm like, why? Because I'm afraid about getting in the friend zone. I'm like, dude, you're not going to get in the friend zone from that. Yeah, if you start like following her around and being needy and buying her gifts without reciprocation, like for months on end, then yes, you will be put in that friend zone. Or probably not even a friend at that point, probably just someone she avoids. But, you know, like, don't worry about that. Shouldn't be your worry. As long as you're like, I'm really big in my program about like leading, like, you know, going after what you want. If you want someone, you know, show it, you know, don't sit around and just like twiddle your thumbs. But, you know, for most guys, I feel like they are so worried about being seen as a friend, which it's not a bad thing, you know, like being seen as a friend, I think is overall good because that means that she likes you, you know, we just have to figure out the dating part, you know?
Wait, I have a like. What's your definition of friend zone?
Friend zone is like a guy who is friends with a woman. He likes her, but she's not into him, and she is not going to date him. Like maybe he's made an attempt or something like that, but he basically doesn't have a chance to date her.
Well, I think everybody I've dated was a friend first.
There we go. See,
Yeah.
that's what I was asking.
Mm.
Now that I think about it, because
Yeah.
I don't just like go straight into it. Like I actually talk to that person, get to know that person,
Mhm.
like, and like know they're like, you know, be on the phone, they can vent to me or whatever, and it's like non-sexual or anything like that. So I feel like if it's non-sexual, you're a friend to me,
Mhm.
you know. So it always start off like that, and then like
Yeah.
stuff, you know, then we end up dating and being together. So yeah, I think everybody has been in the
I
friend
don't know.
zone.
Like, I feel like, and I don't even think I even have the word for it because I don't feel like people that I've like dated or like been in a relationship with, like, I don't feel like I was their friend.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I feel like, I mean, you can say like, I can understand like when a person can say like, oh, basically checking up on a person, being a listening ear, you know, for a person, like stuff like that is stuff that friends do.
Mm-hmm.
But like the friends I've known for years.
Right.
So I can't, in a sense, I can't say that the
Mhm.
people I've been with, like I was friends with them because I look at a person that I'm dating different than I would look at my friends.
Mhm.
Right.
You
But did
know,
it start
so-
off friendly?
It started off as, girl, your lips, your eyes.
Oh, straight to the point.
Like, and I'm just like, okay, so
Straight to the point.
Grand Rising, like you gotta, you know, give me something different. But like, you know, I'm easy going. Like a person, anyone can talk to me. But like when you say one or two words that's off that make me feel like you want some weird stuff.
Mm-hmm.
You block, cut off. Like, you ain't gonna even know you cut off.
That's the boundaries, though.
People crazy.
Oh, it's
They
true.
be crazy.
Cool.
Because some guys think just because they have a lot of money, they can just, oh, I have a lot of money, and oh, you want to be with me? No. What else do you have? Do you have sense?
Mhm.
You know. So.
Do you get a lot of guys
people-
that act like that towards you?
Yes. And
Do you get a lot of guys who slide into your DMs?
Used to.
Used to.
Yeah, but I've been like posting the person I've been dating and like
Yeah.
stuff like that. So like, and I have this demeanor. They say my face look like very unapproachable. Like, oh, you have a don't fuck with me type of face.
You don't.
Like,
Okay, I have a resting bitch face. Like this is
No,
like angry
I-
eyebrows right there. You look like you have a friendly face. I'm very surprised by that.
I feel like when
Like
I'm
an
out, well, I don't know. It's just what I hear. But yeah, a lot of guys think just because I'm pretty and I look younger that I'm looking for a sugar daddy, and I'm not. Like I work, I like to be on my grind. I don't want to just sit at home and be taken care of.
Right.
So it's the mindsets of people that make me like, no, thank you.
Mm.
I've ran into that a lot too
Mhm.
recently, even especially like this reminds me of I was recently at a conference this past January giving a speech, I was there on a mission, and it was like older guy after older guy, just nasty comments. I actually had to
Oh my
file a
God.
report because it was so
What are they saying to you?
I was getting on a bus, we were going to an event, and one of them was like, oh, I got a spot for you on my lap.
Yeah, just
Things like that. And it was 5 separate men, and all in this same demographic, very same older white man who thinks he can say whatever he wants. And I just found it to be completely inappropriate because I was there, I was a speaker, I was doing this for my career.
Yeah.
And I just felt like, do we have to have like an etiquettes course before we go
Yeah,
into the
that's right.
conference? Like, is this like
Right.
summer camp and you got to teach everyone how to behave?
Seriously.
I was like really put off, and I was like, why? I was like wondering why I was attracting that energy.
I think it's. I think it's okay. Here's what I think it is. Okay. Well, for you speaking on the stage, I don't know about you, but for you speaking on the stage, what I think is happening because people will. So I have a following. I got about like 100,000 Instagram followers, like 170,000 subscribers on YouTube. So I have people who watch my stuff who will see me out, and they'll make eye contact with me, and they'll be like, "Oh, hey, man," and I'm like, "The fuck is that guy?" And then they'll walk up to me and they'll just start talking to me normal. And like, I'm friendly, you know, like by this point, I assume he's the guy who watches my stuff. I'm like, hey, do you watch my stuff? And he's like, yeah, I do, man. But they walk up, and the way that they walk up to me is so casual that they like assume that they know me. They assume that we're cool like that. But for me, it's a total stranger that I do not know. So I'm a little bit like put off guard by it because they're a stranger. I don't know who they are. Like, are they gonna like try and rob me or something? Because like sometimes, you know, if you go walk down the wrong neighborhood, sometimes they'll be like really friendly with you and then they'll rob you. You know, I don't know if you've lived in that neighborhood where they do shit like that, but like, you know, so I get a little bit unnerved when guys do stuff like that to me. It must feel worse being a woman in your shoes, where like a larger, bigger guy, or, you know, older, maybe more disgusting, is doing that to you. Yeah, so I think for you, because maybe they saw you speak on stage, they felt like they knew you, and they felt like they could be, you know, super casual to you when you don't know them at all. They're a stranger, you know, like that's not okay. So, I mean, maybe for you, I don't know what it would be for you, but for you, because you were speaking on a stage, that would make sense to me in that moment. But yeah, for your case, I'm not sure.
For me, because like I've had conversations with friends and stuff like that, when conversation like men would like try to hit on me and like make it seem like they just know me as to be that, and it's kind of offensive because it's like I'm not even like that. But I think Instagram and social media, certain shoots I do, or you know, certain pictures I post, or how I dress sometimes, or where I go, it might come off as like, oh, I'm that go-getter girl. No, I'm not. That's what I like to do, but that doesn't put me in that category with other people that you might find there.
Right. So they come in with all these assumptions.
I found that too in the EDM world. Like even like being on a stage, when you're presented, when you're in the public eye, it can bring that other attention in that there's that element. And I think I'm just like getting used to that too.
Right.
Like if you're on a stage, if you have a presence on social media, that does kind of bring in some different attention. And yeah,
100%. So like, this is why small talk, this is why paying attention to the person, taking them as they are, is super important. Because I think guys, the pretty girl or whatever that they have in their mind, they have some sort of amalgam of what that should or what that person does, and they come into that with those preconceived notions, and then they treat the conversation as such, where, you know, you shouldn't come in with those, because then you're probably going to assume the wrong thing, or she's going to be offended. Or let's say you assume the right thing. Okay, what happens after that? You know, I've never really seen that happen, but if it did, you know, what happens after that? What new do you have to discover about them? You know, so it kind of ruins the whole process, in my opinion.
Can I chime in? Because y'all talking about men, okay? And
even with women, there's sugar mamas out there.
No, y'all talking about men, but let me tell y'all something. I take it offensive when men try to holler at me.
What kind of guys holler at you?
Let me tell you something. Like it goes from, oh, career opportunities, oh, let me put you on to this, to, oh, let me pay you for a conversation. No, like I do not do nothing like that. Like,
pay for a conversation.
And I don't understand. Yeah, and I don't understand like what it is with men. Like, I'm not gonna say all, but I've came across like men like that, and this is why the only like male friends that I really have are my brothers. Right. You know, or my step brothers. Like,
you can't be friends with them?
I really can't, because it's like,
no boys allowed.
Because the male friends that I've had, like they get the like trying to like come on to me, and I'm like, bro, like I look like you. Why would you want to do that? Like we are the same. Why would you do that? You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, and it's I don't know. Maybe, you know, but then I had to think, you know, how they feel, like how they think mentally, like, okay, well, she's still a girl, even though she looked like this. But I wouldn't be able to, I can't be with nobody that looked like me.
Yeah, that's not how it works.
That's like me being with a stud. You know what I'm saying? Okay,
that's hilarious.
Know.
Yeah, that proves men will go after anything.
No,
cool. All right, so Sheena has to leave. So what we're gonna do right now is we're gonna open it up for questions. Tom has some questions for us. I actually got to pee really quick, so Tom, you want to just roll through the questions and then we'll just take them that way?
Yeah, we can do that. I can just ask them and they can kind of go on.
Yeah. I'm just gonna pee in like 5 seconds. So I'll be real quick. But yeah, why don't we just start right now?
Cool. Question number 1: what is the sexiest hobby for a man to have?
For a man to have. What do you guys think? I'll help you guys start with this, and I have an answer for it. We just talked about one.
But it's
Who do
like
you
the
manage?
sexiest one. Reading a book.
You manage
EDM DJs, I don't.
musician, music, artistry, being an artist.
Rock star.
So I think, okay. So like we talked about this, whatever it is that you do, whatever it is your favorite thing, do that. That's where you're going to be the most attractive. If you don't like
Lifting heavy things.
if you want to attract Sheena, lift weights.
I gotta agree with you, girl, on that.
Lift weights, take TRT, do what you got to do. Anyway, so, but like, really what we're talking about is when you're having the most fun, when you're doing the thing that you are good at, that's when you're going to be the most attractive, okay, whatever you are. So lean into that. Lean into stuff that you actually like. Don't do it because, oh, I think women are going to like it. Now, let's say if you had no hobbies whatsoever and you're like, I'm going to dedicate the next 5 years to having a hobby, I would recommend, if you want to do well with women, doing something that involves art, doing something that involves like expressing your creative side, you know, because that way other people can appreciate it. And, you know, a lot of women are artistic and creative as well too. So I find that those endeavors tend to be a little bit more successful. But if you're not a creative person, like I honestly don't do that much art. Like my girlfriend's really into art, and I at one point in time I used to draw and be creative, but you know now I focus on doing jujitsu and doing business and you know being in shape and all that stuff, and that's what I really love. So
That's your art.
yeah, that's my art. But for me to like say, hey, I'm gonna take up painting because I want to get laid, like that would be the dumbest thing of all time.
Like if a man just want to get laid and you don't have any like skills or anything, just learn how to eat pussy.
Honestly, men.
You guys can't see the audience right now, but we're getting a hands up raise from the audience at the moment.
Get a little butt.
Learn how to give a girl an orgasm, because there has been so many times where I'm like, what was that? What was that? What was that? A minute? Like, come on, guys.
Like, why are you raising your head up right now? I'm not finished.
Yes.
Question number 2 is, how do you eat pussy?
I think that one is for Sora.
Yeah, I think that was for Sora. I'm gonna go to the bathroom on this one. I'll answer it again.
The guys need a little bro talk. How do you eat pussy?
You eat it like them Jamaicans eat that mango.
Yeah, we need to get a mango out here.
All the
All right,
snapping
where's the
sounds,
mango?
all of that. That's definitely.
Yeah, let's stay on that topic. How do you determine if a guy's getting better or not?
You know, I honestly think it's about communication, because like I've dated some guys that they're beautiful, but I'm terrible in bed. And I'm like, there has to be a lot of communication. And I think sex needs to actually be talked about more, even before it happens. Like, what does a person like? What turns her on? What turns him on? Like, don't be scared to have those conversations, because I think then you're going to set yourself up for success when it does come to getting physical, for sure.
And for me, I just think some guys think that they can fuck every girl the same. That is not true. Every woman body is different. Like maybe this move worked for her, but that move, she just laying there like, what are you doing? Like, get up, you know? So I feel like piggybacking off of what you said, communication is the big key. Learn what she likes. Like have dirty talk. That's always great. That's my opinion.
I like it too.
Yeah.
So true.
That's that foreplay.
What's the biggest like turn off a guy's done in the bedroom? What's like the most like disappointing thing a guy's done in the bedroom for you guys? Because we can talk about the turn ons, right? But what are like the turn offs?
I don't know. I feel like I don't like excessive sweat. So for me, that's just like, I don't know.
I think
What was the question?
Turn offs.
turn offs
turn
in
offs.
bed. I think like lack of rhythm for what I don't know if that's like the musician in me, but it's like the lack, like you gotta read her. If she's not responding to the way you're moving your body, like
Switch it up.
switch it up. Maybe like be open to like learning about your body, learning about her body. I think that's huge. It's because just having sex is like different than like actually being in, like, again, that mindfulness part comes in.
Yeah.
Be mindful in the bedroom.
Yeah, I think so. Like what you're saying is good. I'll take in the mind of a guy. I know a lot of times guys get really nervous, and for some of my clients, they have trouble getting hard the first time they have sex with a woman, especially if she's like especially attractive. So what's happening with them is they're getting way too much in their own head, and they're thinking, oh, what is the other person gonna like? They feel like they have to put up a performance. Sex is an enjoyable experience. It's for you too, dude. Like, you're supposed to have a good time. And I find that if a lot of guys just kind of, go and do what feels good to them, what feels natural to them, then they usually end up doing the right thing. Now, the first time you have sex with somebody, like, it's not going to be your best performance. You get better as time goes on, where you communicate and you get better. So, like, I think if it's the first time, like, go do what feels good. Go do what feels natural for you, and enjoy it. Take the chance to, like, have fun with this person. They are allowing you, to be with them and be naked and use their body and all that stuff. And, so enjoy the fact, because if you get out of your own head, a lot of these problems get solved.
Yeah,
in my opinion.
True.
Yeah.
Well,
but I do have.
Well, I can say that sex is one of my love languages. So, yeah. you just that's like
Sora likes sex.
It all depends if you want soft Sora or if you want BSM Sora.
Yeah, because some, like, honestly, like, some of my friends, like, felt like a guy was gay because he was, like, caressing, like, kind of like making love to her in the sense. The way she described it, that's what I got out of it. But she was like, I think he gay. Like, I want you to smack my ass.
Yeah,
my
take
hair,
charge.
And it's like, but if he would have just started off with that, it would have kind of been like a little crazy. You could have, So I don't know. For the guys that are the opposite of his clients, like, yeah, it's for you too, but it's also for her. And I think that's what we was talking about, because, like, a guy would get off and then the women's still like, okay, where's my orgasm?
The stamina.
Yeah.
Well, also, you should definitely, if she's gone down on you got to go down on her for a while too. It's got to be 50-50. I'm all about equality.
Practice on that mango.
Is it a deal breaker if a guy's a virgin?
No.
You would date a guy, so, like, if you're on, like, a date or whatever, and he's like, it's going really well, and he reveals that he's a virgin, that would not be.
It would not be an issue at all. Honestly, I would like that more because, like, for some reason, it's a double standard. Men, a lot of women don't care about their men's body count, but men care about the women's body count. And I feel like, for me, I care about your body count.
Okay.
Like,
Yeah, women care.
Like, it's to a certain point where it's just like, okay, at a certain age, young. I feel like when you're older, when you're in your, like, 30s and 35, 40s, I don't care what you did when you was 21 and under. That doesn't really matter. But if you're just in and out of relationships or in and out of the dating life, it's just like, okay, what is the issue? Because I don't want to be a part of that in and out that you're doing. So I would like to know. So, a virgin, are you fresh? Come here.
So much to teach you.
So,
Have you ever pegged a man in the bedroom?
Yes. I mean, what?
like,
I'm just kidding.
Strap on? Just make sure you repeat the question because the audience can't hear it.
Okay. The question was, have you ever pegged a man in the bedroom? Ladies, I will let you answer this.
I stuck my finger in a guy's butt before, but I didn't like it after. I was just like, nah. Yeah.
Not for you?
Mm-mm.
That's about where I'm at too. It was like just a little, and I'm just like, not my thing.
What if he asked you to? Would you do it?
It depends on how he's asking. I don't know.
And how far along the
many?
Oh, take me out to dinner first, please.
Like, if that's
Then I'll peg you.
What about you, Sora? Have you?
Oh,
I'm sure she's,
I've
used
fantasized
toys or
about
whatever.
doing it. I've gotten this close to. I like bottoms. Like,
Explain what a bottom is for the people out there that doesn't know.
A gay man that.
You're attracted to
receives and doesn't give. Yeah, I like.
Oh, okay. I know
flamboyant.
that. Interesting. Okay.
Yeah, I like flamboyant bottoms.
But they have to be more feminine, right?
Yes, they have to be pretty. Like,
Okay.
how, just like how some people like their men, well kept, looking good,
Mm-hmm.
taking care of themselves. It has to be a pretty man.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you ain't got to, like, have a wig on and all that, but you have to be pretty.
So what's the story behind being this close and not doing it?
Nah, he got up in my face. Okay, I was like, well, what's up? Like, you playing and stuff. Like, we was crushing on each other for a long time. And I wanted to strap him up. and he wanted me to strap him up.
Uh-huh.
We never got there because he got shy.
Oh, damn.
Oh.
You got scared.
Mhm.
You're like, we'll
He
start
got
with a
scared.
small one, you know, we'll work our way
Right.
up. You know? Like,
They do have the starter kit.
yeah. They probably got a
They
list
have
of
the starter
sizes, you
kits,
know,
yeah.
like you start with the
Uh-huh.
A level and then you work your way up to like a
Yeah.
cucumber or whatever it is you're into, you know?
I'm dead.
Oh man.
Have any of you ever tried role playing in the bedroom? If so, what happened?
God.
I'm looking.
No, I haven't. I'm
I have, but it didn't work out because I ended up falling and embarrassing myself. So I was like, you know what? Let's just do it. The
You like
normal
physically
way.
fell over, like.
No, yeah, because I was drunk and I was like, oh, let's do something new, you know. It didn't work out. It was like, oh no.
We tried. That's the important part. Yeah, I would do. Oh God, role playing. No, I've never done any of that sort of stuff. Should probably get more exciting about that. I don't really think about like a role playing, and maybe it's a different place would be more exciting to me. Or wearing a different outfit would be more exciting to me. But you have to really get in character. I got to work on my acting chops before I get into that.
Yeah.
I get in character.
Role playing with me doesn't last too long. It gets hot, and at this point in time,
I don't know why. When you
it's
said
just
that, I got a little
kinda-
scared. I just said, I'm like, oh God,
last long,
it doesn't
like-
last long.
No, it don't. Like, it just gets intense to the point to where like, okay, like let's just get this. Because I'm a teaser. Like I will tease. Like I like to explore my woman's body.
Mhm.
So it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
I do have a question. Is like dominatrix like a form of like role playing or no?
It can be.
You done that?
Mhm.
No, I am terrified. Like if I was to do it, I want to be doing it to the person. Like I don't want you. No.
No, you would be doing. You,
Yeah, I would be
you would
doing
be
it. Like I would
dominatrix,
dress up in the leather, whatever.
Yeah.
That'd be kind of fun.
I'm excited.
Oh,
Yeah,
God.
Tell a guy to act like a dog or whatever they do.
Yeah.
I'm just guessing. I mean, I've never done it before. What's up? We got a question in the audience? Oh, you have. Oh, I know you have, Danielle.
Okay.
Okay.
That's a lot.
More questions?
Is there anything on your bedroom bucket list?
Oh, I'm gonna buy a sex swing. Yeah, we're gonna get that out there. Yeah. I needed to figure out the molding of my head because I know there's people who do this. I've seen this on television. They design sex rooms. Have you seen this? It's on TLC or whatever.
Yeah, I have
you know,
seen that.
they bring you in. These people like describe all the fucked up shit that they like to do, and like the woman's like, interesting, you know, and she tries to be as not judgmental as possible. But yeah, sex swing I think is a pretty stable piece of equipment for that. But I'm afraid I'm gonna punch a hole in my wall and like or my ceiling and like it's gonna all fall down. So I think you have to hit it in the beam.
Because you know they got them ones that go behind your room door or your bathroom.
I don't like those. Like they look like I need more leverage, you know? Anyway. That'd be too much detail for you guys.
How spicy they trying to get.
I don't want sex in public. I think like whether it be on a beach or something. I've never.
Have you done that before?
I haven't. It's on my bucket list.
Oh, I've done it.
I have
Like-
never done it on a
Like
beach.
somewhere in public or like almost. I don't know. Maybe like where it's kind of you're secretly. You're like, you know, it's secret,
It's like private, but no one's around.
like
type
you are secretly having sex and there's people have no idea, but you're somehow, you know.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I had sex in the park.
Oh
I
yeah.
had sex in the park, by the little swing set where they got the little slide that come down. It was on the top. It was actually raining. I took my jacket off. I let her wear my jacket because it was raining. But that's the only reason why I want nobody outside. Just had to just get it in.
That's funny. I have a story about this. So I've had sex in a bunch of different public places, like church.
Wait, what? How did
Not in the church. There's like a church parking lot, but there's people around.
Church.
You know,
so casually?
bathroom at the bar. You know, like Macy's clothing store.
Hey,
It goes
in the
on.
dressing room?
Yeah, in the
Okay.
dressing room, done that.
it's
Like
not
you know, I have to really think to go through memory. I have a really long list. My buddy has outdone me, like to the extent that you wouldn't even imagine. So I won't say his name, but he likes to go to like Burning Man and like those types of events, and people are very sexual there. Like there's even like tents where you can like, swingers go and stuff where you can just it's a lot of fun for them. So he made this like box because like when you're out at the festival and you meet a woman who's like ready to go, but she's like, you gotta walk all the way back to your campsite. Like it's like all this, logistics that are a problem. So he made this, like, he called it the ballroom, and he made this like dress, and it was like he would walk with a whole entire room. And there was like, he cut out a hole in the top here.
The glory hole.
So it basically was. And so he would take this thing and he would walk around the festival. And when he was like feeling it with this one girl who was like, clearly she wanted to have sex, he would basically like put it over, like chunk her, and she'd be in it. And so they would be right up to here. No one could see anything that was going down below. So he would start having sex with this girl while they were in the middle of the festival in this thing.
Oh my goodness.
And people would walk by them and be like, hey, what are you guys doing? And he would be like, we're fucking.
Oh my god, that's like dick in a box. To
Yeah,
a level.
and so one of the girls was like, "No, you're not." And so she crawled into the thing, and she's like, "Oh my god, they are!" And they tried to get out, almost broke the structure that he made, and then left. So anyway, I've done a lot of stuff. So anyway, that's a Burning Man story. It only works if you're at a festival that's like got that vibe. Obviously, like don't walk around the streets with that. Perfectly clear. Safety first, you guys.
What's the pettiest reason why you would not date someone?
Pettiest reason. I don't have a lot of petty reasons because as a dating coach, I try and like, if I judge somebody for something, I try and see what is there a reason for that, or is there a reason like why do I have something petty about that? If I think of something, I'll try. Do you guys have any?
I don't know. I get turned off real easy. Like I really believe like I'm asexual. So like when someone's
You believe you're asexual, but you're dating somebody.
Yeah, but the thing, maybe I don't know the definition of asexual.
Asexual, you no desire to have sex.
No desire at all.
You never
Yeah,
fuck again
well,
for the rest of
see.
your life. You'd be just fine.
Okay, in the middle then. Not quite at A, but close to it. I
Okay.
don't have the desire to do it all the time. So like I rarely have the desire to do it.
Okay.
So like when people are like coming on to me, like the hollering thing, like I said, like that is a big turn off. Like I don't like people like just coming up with me with like lines of like trying to holler. Like come with something different, or I will be turned off and not talk to you.
Do you think it's because you've had so many people like be sexual towards you that was unwanted that maybe you feel like you associate sex with like maybe not being such a great thing?
Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense. Yeah.
Getting hit on, that would be mine too. Like blatantly, just like someone screaming out of the car, "Hey babe," or whatever.
Yeah.
It's like, or
No cat calls.
No
The
cat
lost
calls,
art of
like-
cat calling is no more.
it's like if someone like makes an effort to come up to me and is genuine, and you can feel that, I think that's sweet. Like if someone will say, like, there's a different you're beautiful versus like you're hot or you're beautiful. Like it's all about that intent behind it. Like if someone is really genuinely interested and I see them looking at me across from the bar or something, or just come up and like ask me a question or something, then I'm open to it. But if like you're gonna catcall me, like good luck. Like that's cheap.
What about a respectful cat call? Like,
What is
You know,
a
there-
respectful
There is
call?
a guy that does that. He goes around
Yeah, yeah.
and he's like, "Girl, you look like you wore your retainer." Like, just, like, shove
girl,
my-
you look like you did your taxes.
We're being nice here or something, but
Be
like,
respectful
I,
of her.
like
That's
if
funny.
someone is funny and genuinely is funny and is really good at that, that's different. Again, it's like that genuineness that.
Yeah.
But if like someone's just catcalling me to do it, it's that's my petty. Like,
Got a cat call
what turned
game.
me off is somebody staring at me like a science project.
oh yeah.
A science project.
Yeah, like because
Could you demonstrate that look for us? What
Yeah.
would that look like?
Yeah, like you're dissecting a frog. What's the science?
like
Like this.
they just be like, because like seriously, like I be at work or I be in the store and just people just be
Just like
like is it
Whoa.
like I feel the sexual energy just like protruding out of there. Like for real, like, and I'm just like, okay, like it's either, excuse my language, like the fuck you looking at me for, or like at least speak. Like if you're gonna stare, because my mom always taught me like it's not polite to stare at people.
Yeah.
And I understand like sometimes like a person can be looking at you, but looking through you 2.
Yeah.
But nah, you stern. Stirring all in my stuff, because when I say something, when I address you, like, oh, okay, hey, how you doing? How you doing, girl? Oh, hey, then you end up coming up to me later on the day, you know. I'm saying, I didn't mean to stare at you. You know, you're just attractive. Like, I understand that, but see, the thing about me is like, I feel like I'm alright. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't feel like I'm all that in the bag of chips, like, because I don't care about the looks. Like the way people, you know, make me feel like I look like. I really don't be caring. I'm humble.
Okay. So no science projects. Okay.
I
No
think a
science
turn off for
projects,
me
like-
while dating, not like them trying to like holler. While dating someone, if it's like the first couple of weeks and you're not like consistent, because we're already past that, you know, trying to get to know me stage for the first couple of days. So we went on a date and we're dating. That ghosting me, like just texting me, like not texting me for weeks, and then all of a sudden, hey, I was busy. No.
Sorry about this. We got some.
Because you wasn't that busy not to text me that you were busy at that moment, so I know what's going on.
Yeah.
You know, I feel like communication is a big thing. Don't just like disappear and then pop back up like everything's gonna be okay.
Ghosting is, I think, the biggest turn off. Like,
Be
don't ghost.
consistent.
If you're into me, we date a couple times, and then you're not into me, just tell me. Don't ghost.
Or if you have somebody else.
Yeah, and that's
Yeah.
usually
That's usually
yeah.
the thing.
Other
Got like
people, and I'm
3
just
people.
Like, why you can only
right?
talk to me at night?
Well, people are never going to do that because everybody likes to keep people around as like an option or like a backup or something, and so they don't want to lose it. If they're honest with you, then they're going to lose you. And so, you know, unfortunately, people are selfish. I always encourage my clients to be as honest as possible, but you know, even I know, like, you just we live in the modern era, and I think like if we were going to get rid of ghosting completely, that would be incredible. I would be very impressed with humanity.
Yeah. Maybe one day.
Maybe one day we'll aspire to that. Any more questions? I know I have some written down. Yeah.
Is it possible to date someone you're not physically attracted to?
No.
Yeah,
Yes.
I'd say no, but I would say like the attraction, a lot of people will discount people, like maybe they have a type. And I find that like with certain women, like if they date me and I'm not their type, then I become their type after we date for a while, because, you know, then they get used to dating me. They get used to being into me. They get used to having sex with me. And so like very often somebody's type is usually just what their ex looked like. You know, a lot of times you see that. So I find that attraction can grow. And I feel like, you know, some people are a little dismissive, or if I'm not immediately like I feel the spark, you know, they kind of discount a lot of people. So I think I would encourage people to give people a little bit more of a chance, and to see different sides of them. Maybe you saw them in a different environment where, you know, they weren't being, you know, themselves. And then you see them, you know, running a meeting or running a show or whatever it is. And then you're like, oh, wow, never saw them in that light. And then you can get a feel attraction from that way. So I think attraction definitely can grow, but if you give it some time and it hasn't grown,
Yeah.
I ain't gonna lie, y'all. Listen now. Look, and I ain't gonna say no name, but I done dated somebody that looked like the corpse bride.
hey, but some people are into that look.
And she had dentures, but I didn't discriminate because like the way she treated me. You know what I'm saying? So it
made you feel good.
Yeah, I didn't care about like what she looked like, because like I don't know, like I just have a heart, like I'm for like giving people a chance, you know, because the looks don't matter to me.
Yeah. Sora is the most wholesome out of all of us.
Yeah, because I feel like if I can, I have to be able to wake up to your face every morning. I can't just turn over and be like, oh Lord, you know. It's just like it has to be some type of physical attraction for me.
Yeah,
and that doesn't mean like physical attraction to everyone may be different, you know. So like you might have nice eyes, but everything else is not what someone else might think is attractive, but to someone else you might be attractive. So it's just, I don't know.
I've dated recently probably the most beautiful man I've ever met, and
What did he look like?
Ken, Barbie and Ken.
He looked like a Ken doll.
He was buff. He was he had an accent. He was German. He was beautiful. These big blue eyes, but he was one of the most cruel people, like just cruel, and it made him ugly to me. I don't care what you look like. Like I do like pretty guys, but if you're a jerk, that prettiness fades very quickly.
Right.
Yeah,
See,
definitely.
I
You
don't like pretty guys.
don't like pretty guys?
Mm-mm.
What kind of guys do you
I
like?
think I'm more of that. I like rough looking people. Like, because I
Like he's
date
been
men
through a
and women.
war.
So yeah, like you've been through the trenches. You can protect me. No, like I feel like some pretty guys, because I have tried dating a pretty guy, and I feel like I just put everyone else in that category with him by accident.
Mhm.
But he was just like too, what do you call that? Too like not flamboyant. He wasn't like gay or anything. It was just I don't know. He was just too into himself, where it's just like I didn't exist type thing.
It's like, hey, babe,
kinda
can you
what
get out of
I
the frame
have.
for a second? I'm taking a photo.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's obsessed with himself, and I did not like that. I was like, yeah, that's not gonna go far.
You wanted to be the pretty one?
Yeah, because I'm a woman.
That's true.
Yeah, I agree. Well, I think attraction can grow, but at the end of the day, if you've given it time and it's not growing, then we wanted someone that you can find that growth with. Cool. Any other questions?
That's it.
Really? I feel like we got more.
Yeah, I mean, we can go through more, but that's pretty much. We'll do one more.
Yeah.
Danielle, I'll let you pick.
I wrote some more down that I feel like we haven't asked yet.
Oh, okay.
We're also almost at time.
Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, we got 2 minutes left. We'll do more.
Okay, so last question.
Sure.
How to manage power dynamics in a relationship?
Oh, power dynamics. You give them nothing and take everything. No, I'm just kidding.
Okay.
That's a toxic version of that. Yeah, I mean, power dynamics is different. I think everybody has to feel useful, but I don't think everybody should try and be providing the same thing. There should be one person, I think, who's kind of like moving the relationship forward, and there should be one person that's keeping the relationship as it is, comfortable. So that's kind of like the masculine and feminine dynamics, where the masculine is very like directional and the feminine is very like cyclical and taking care of and receiving. So there's different things that are associated and different ways that people fit together. And I think, I meet some couples that do enjoy that kind of game where they're going back and forth a little bit. But the important thing is that both people have to feel valuable and useful in the relationship. And if they don't, then one person's going to leave. That's my opinion. What do you guys think?
I look at it like a dance. I think it's, again, like going back to rhythm. I just keep going back to that. It's like there has to be some synergy there. Like I can be very masculine, but at times I'm very feminine. And it's, I think that communication about that in the couple dynamic, like when you establish that right away, then when hiccups come up, you can talk about them. Like, it's like,
Right.
oh, you're pushing really hard here. You're being very dominant, or hey, babe, step up to the plate here. You can have those conversations. And I think that helps continue the relationship forward.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. It's funny. I was reading a biography on Elon Musk, and before his first wedding, he talked to his wife, her name's Justine, and he turned to her and he goes, "I am the alpha of this relationship."
That's very on brand. That is very on brand.
I'm like, Elon, you never disappoint. I love Elon Musk, by the way, but that was so him.
Well, he's South African. That's about right.
Who says that? Right before your wedding. Oh, by the way, we're getting married. I'm the alpha. Just so you know. No ifs, ands, or buts.
Are they still married? Or
No.
Okay. How many wives has he had?
Oh God, no. Elon Musk should take my course. That's what he needs to do. He's married and divorced the same woman twice. He's done that. And what else has he done? He dated Grimes, and then he dated he dated, what's her face? The one with Johnny Depp, Amber Heard.
Oh.
He dated Amber Heard right after she dated Johnny Depp.
Was
I remember,
that like an experiment that he wanted?
I think he just loves pain. I don't know what his deal is. Anyway, anybody have anything to add about power dynamics in the relationship?
I'm not a specialist or anything.
Yeah, the specialist
So,
in power.
I don't want anyone to take my advice when I say this, but being in a controlling relationship, I have become the controller. I don't like when people tell me, if I feel like you're not coming from a good space, it has to be tone when you talk to me, or I'm gonna feel like you're talking at me and not to me. So I don't like that. So I try to I don't try to control the relationship, but it comes off like that because I'm not real receptive of certain things that they want.
Okay.
Mhm.
Makes sense. Zora, anything?
I feel like everybody should be in control in some way, shape, or form.
Mhm.
Like both parties.
Yeah.
Like, and you just got to go down the line with, like, even if you got to write it on sticky notes and look, today I'm gonna be in control of this, that, and third. Like, tomorrow,
I'm the alpha
you're
today.
gonna.
I am the alpha.
You got the tag to
I am the
control
alpha.
because, like, it'd be a power struggle, like dating like aggressive, feminine women.
Mhm.
Like, because I'm masculine, like I'm in touch with my femininity,
Mhm.
but like at the same time, it's just like the way I come off because I'm the only girl and the youngest
Mhm.
with straight brothers, and I'm so used to
Yeah.
that
Mhm.
Mhm.
that and
Mhm.
sometimes I come off boisterous, or sometimes I come off like overly like aggressive, and
Mhm.
I don't even be in it. I don't even be like trying to be aggressive. It's just my demeanor,
Right.
So like I don't know. I feel like
It should be a balance.
Yeah, it should be definitely
That's
a
why I said
balance.
no one don't take my advice. Don't take my situation and make it yours, because
Yeah.
it's crazy.
Mhm.
Okay, cool. I think we're good. Everybody, so what we want to do before we leave is, Sheena's not here, but you can find Sheena. I believe her Instagram is That Dating Coach if you want to look for her. Everybody, why don't you just say you and how they can find you if you want them to find you. I will start. So my name is Lloyd Dixon. You can find me at a.single.guy on Instagram. You can find me at The Single Guy on YouTube or thesingleguy.com as well.
You can find me on Instagram and Facebook at ACEDIOSA. That's ACDOSA.
You can find me at kaycote, KAYCOTE.com, where you can get connected with my podcast, as well as my Instagram is the kaycote, and then my podcast Instagram is Elevated You Show.
Perfect.
And just really getting into this social media stuff, but y'all can find me on Instagram at Sora Nova Takeover. That's SOR. How you spell Sora? ANOVATAKEOVA. And on Instagram and on Facebook as well at Sora Nova. No takeover, but just Sora Nova.
Perfect.
Awesome.
All right. Awesome job, you guys. Thank you for watching, everybody.
Thank you.